Welcome to the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the Force be with you.
Looky, Senator. There's a Jedi arriving.
Let's make this our best show ever!
I will sign no treaty, Senator.
I am the Senate.
This is the way.
Hello, Star Wars fans, and welcome to the April 2022 episode of the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This episode is recorded on the 3rd of April 2022, using the power of the Force, or as we often call it, Microsoft Skype. My name is Stephen, the Chancellor of this Senate, and also the only Brit, as we all get together to talk about all things Star Wars. For the next 2-ish hours, maybe a bit less actually, you'll get to hear only positive Star Wars chat and stuff you can enjoy and lots of fun along the way. There's no hate on this show because we all know where hate leads to.
Hate leads to suffering.
So therefore, I will say that we try to keep things as light and fluffy in here like a Wookiee. Actually, it just reminded me that there was something in Midnight Horizon about a Wookiee. I was reading it and it reminded me of this bit. We'll get into that a bit later. So this month's show is brought to you by Yoda. Yes, and there's a reason why I thought about Yoda for this month. But before we get into things proper, as always, it's time to hear a quick word from our sponsors. Right, okay. Rookie, can you put that on the list, please, to try to find some sponsors for the show in the future, please?
We're still sponsored by Spice.
Yeah, I think we might need to do some work on that. But yeah, okay. Anyhow, whereas I'm in the UK, I am joined this month, as ever, from my positive friends across the pond in the United States of America. And this month we have, going in Skype random order, we have Ryan.
Hello there.
We have Ricky.
Hello.
And we have Ron.
Greetings and salutations, fellow senators and chancellor.
Also, these three are known as the 3 R's. The 3 R's of the podcast. So roughly the agenda-ish for this show is, because we do tend to go off on a tangent sometimes, we would do our usual round the table to see what everybody's been up to in Star Wars land for the last 30 days-ish since the last episode of this podcast came out. And then we will dive into some more High Republic stuff, and we will look at the Midnight Horizon book, as Ryan's going to keep reminding me we need to go back and look at the 2 comic series that we've had for the last, well, it must be almost a year, mustn't it? When did it start? Anybody know?
January is when High Republic started.
Well, January last year.
2021.
Yeah.
2021, yeah.
Blimey, that is a long time. Okay, so we should go around the table and see what's been happening in Star Wars land for us all first. And we start with Ryan.
So my Star Warsing from the past month, let's see, I finished Midnight Horizon, and then I immediately listened to it again on audiobook just to try to... I loved it, and we'll discuss it more later, but I listened to that one. I read it, and then immediately found it on audiobook in my library and read it. I listened to it again, so that was really fun. And then I just went through and did Mission to Disaster. I listened to that one again. I rewatched the episode The Twins from the Visions series because I found an anime called Pro Mare from the same studio, and then I was like, oh man, I really want to watch a lot of Studio Trigger shows. So I started watching like Kill La Kill, and then I was like, you know what? They have a Star Wars episode too. So I watched The Twins again, which is everybody's favorite.
I thought maybe you lost a bet.
Nope.
We all know it's Ron's favorite one.
Yep. So I rewatched that, and then I rewatched Revenge of the Sith just because that's been a long time. I finished like Attack of the Clones, like the last 10 minutes of Attack of the Clones, and I went straight into Revenge of the Sith. Just try to, I'm trying to go through them all just to see where they sit on my ranking again. Kind of like I said last time, Attack of the Clones was better than I remember. But Revenge of the Sith is still strictly, top 5. And I sat right through that thing in one sitting. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely one of the best ones. So I had fun rewatching that.
I think it's the one where when they said they're going to do the prequels, we're all like, yeah, come on, let's get to that bit. Let's get to the bit where Anakin becomes Vader sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think we all knew that.
Which, it's hard telling a story going backwards, doing all that stuff, because, like, he had to have a reason to kill Padme. He had to turn him evil. So regardless of what the reasons were, and he turns immediately from Leppy quotations, savior of the galaxy, to slaughtering younglings. It's like, it's loose at best, but they're telling a backwards story, so it's great going back through it again.
It is still my favorite of all of them. So.
Well,
I wouldn't rank it as my favorite, but like I said, I think it's.
I still say Attack of the Clones is probably my favorite, inching ahead of the other two for me. I just think
Really?
there's a lot more. I think there's just a lot more juice and a lot more
There's a lot
rich story in there. There's a lot more secrets and cloaks and daggers and stuff. I think in that one.
Is that just out of the prequels or in general?
Just out of the prequels. Oh. There was three. If I had the choice of which DVD to put in, and somebody's given me a choice, I would probably always choose Attack of the Clones first.
What would you put that DVD in?
Well, yeah, that was that problem. And thankfully, I've got Disney Plus now, so I only have to press play. But you're right, yes. Where will I put that DVD in? That's a good question, Ron.
In the VCR.
How about I open the barge when you get a DVD player?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at least it's not as bad as where the heck am I going to put my Blu-rays I've got? So I've never had a Blu-ray player. I don't know what professed me to buy two Star Wars and Blu-ray, but there we go. That's instantly, Ryan. Who's reading the audiobook for Midnight Horizon? Is that a mate, Mark?
No, it's not. No, it's someone different. For Mission to Disaster and Midnight Horizon, it wasn't Mark Thompson.
Tony something? I don't remember. It said at the end.
It wasn't Mission to Disaster. Was that? Hang on a minute. No, I've forgotten. The Mission to Disaster. No, yeah, I got confused. My ones. There was.
I think it was the same person that did the Crash Point Tower one. I think
that was a woman, wasn't it?
No,
wasn't it? I've forgotten already. Somebody was reading. A woman was reading one of them. I've got confused. Anyway, okay. We move on. I'm sure it was. I can't remember. Okay, Ricky.
Oh, yeah. Let me see. What did I do this month? You know what? I did. I still haven't beat Squadrons. So, like, I started playing that a little bit. I did, like, one mission on there. It's a cool-looking game, but I don't know. I'm not really a flying game person, so because I'm not very good at it. But I don't know. I just like jumping in there every once in a while and just playing a mission. But it's kind of hard to get to them because they make you, like, talk to every character. It's one of those games where, like, you walk around and, like, all these, like, Imperial officers are just staring at you in the eye with their dead eyes from a computer character. But yeah, the graphics look really cool in that game. But so yeah, so then I did that, and then also I did the audiobook for Midnight Horizon, which I guess we'll talk about that a little later. Oh, another game I was playing was Forza Horizons 5, and like you can customize your cars that you have in there, and you just type in like Star Wars skins. There's like people who make custom skins for the car and decals and stuff in their Star Wars. So I have one that's like Ahsoka themed, and there's a bunch of Darth Vader ones, and so every time I play that racing game, I just have a Star Wars theme on my car. So let me see. We watched the New Hope the other day. Watched a little bit of Clone Wars. We watched the newer episodes, the Ahsoka ones where she goes Mandalore. I started watching those. Played Star Wars Pinball on the Switch. I play a lot of like I think I'm prepping for the Lego Star Wars game that's coming out because I might pre-order that. So I'm just trying to play these other Star Wars games. And I was looking up. I was showing you guys the other day that I was looking up the PC games from like the 90s. I was trying to see if I can order some of those because those look pretty cool. There was like one that was the Droid Works game. I don't know if you guys remember that one, but you could design your own droid and then make it go on missions. But I couldn't find anywhere online to download it, so I might just have to find that on like Amazon or something like that. But yeah, that's been pretty much it. I did watch Conversations with the Masters on Disney Plus, which was I think they made it for the Empire 40th anniversary.
I never heard of
that.
That
Would have been. Yeah, they talked to Kirsch and George Lucas and everyone that was involved with that movie. And yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of I watched it years back, but I didn't remember all the information on it. But yeah, there's some good stuff in there. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that they put not all of them, but some of the extras on the Disney Plus Star Wars stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Besides getting some action figures, I got Hondo that I found at a GameStop. I ordered an Ahsoka from Amazon, and then I just got the Cara Dune one from Amazon too. So yeah, so that's fun. I'm trying to complete my collection, at least get one of each character that I'm missing so far. So, but yeah, that's been pretty fun. And playing with action figures, we did that. We did a whole little mission with the play sets. So I almost bought that Cantina play set, Ron, that you found. I did find it online, but I didn't yet. So the Mandalorian one that you saw.
Yeah, you can find anything online, but seeing it in store, seeing it, having it in hand is kind of cool.
I guess that one came out like in November.
Yeah, the distribution chain, the keeping track of what's been released and then going and seeing it in your store soon after in terms of the news, whatever, is blown up. It's just a mess. They're trying to keep track or trying to collect whatever it is you might be collecting right now. It is very, very difficult because, like I say, stuff that was released isn't seeing the pegs or the shelves anytime soon. Stuff that's on the shelves looks new, but it was actually 6 months ago or whatever.
There's not even any Star Wars sections anymore in the stores. That's like
it's out of favor or whatever. But yeah, it's tough times for sure. Tough sledding.
It's a dark time.
Lego, the Lego Star Wars Skywalker game is to finally drop Tuesday, so you can pre-order it or go pick it up in your local GameStops or wherever. But that's I've been told is going to actually finally drop Tuesday. And apparently one of the neat things about it, if anyone's following it or cares, is that in this one the Lego characters actually talk, whereas before they just kind of like their lips move or under helmet, obviously not. But
they do that.
Yeah, before they just kind of made noises and just didn't talk. But apparently the big thing with this one is they actually engage in and talk. Big giant open world type of gameplay, has its storyline apparently, but just free range open world, go wherever you want, do whatever you want kind of thing.
I've played the
what
other
I've seen
ones,
of it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, this one looks like a lot better. And I wish I would have jumped on the pre-order thing because I would have got the deluxe edition. Because I think if you pre-ordered it from GameStop, it came with like an X-wing Lego thing, and then I think the deluxe edition comes with a little Lego figure Luke. I might have to track that down somewhere. But yeah, I'm looking. I might get that one.
The one thing
it seems fun to play.
No one seemed to be able to answer for me. Of course, not like I was asking lots of people, but whether or not it has what I think are called cut scenes, the type of right where the games have those sort of cutaway scenes to sort of tell the story as you progress and make your way through the game. No one could answer
I'm sure
if
it does
to have that type of element to its gameplay, or is it just the free world, open world? Shoot, what was the thing that got dropped, Ricky, with the figures that we'd place on top of?
That is the Infinity.
Yeah, the Infinities. It was kind of open world and free range.
Yeah.
Kind of envisioning that where you could just go do whatever you want to do, grab whatever you need to collect, and just explore type of thing. I don't know what kind of challenge it's going to have, but yeah, again, looking forward to it on Tuesday. Looks gorgeous.
Yeah. The Lego games are really frustrating to play sometimes, but like this one looks cool. Like it's.
Yeah, I never really played them. I played one for like 10 minutes, and it was like the hardest game I've ever played in my life because there was no direction. It told me nowhere where to go. If I got spun around, I had no idea which direction was forward. There was no task to do anything, and the save points were spaced out massively. And I'll just say it, I'm not a fan of the game. So it's for people who do like it, I'm glad you do. But man, it was like, I'm not even kidding. I was so frustrated in 5 minutes because I was like, it's not telling me where to go. Where do I go?
Yeah, it's demographic for the kiddos, so to speak. Whatever definitely speaks to that. Yep, just go.
I'm an adult and I can't figure out where to go.
But the kids don't care. They're just playing the game. They're just happily walking along and shooting that thing and collecting the bricks or the coins or the little pellets or whatever.
I guess that's true.
And they ultimately know. Yeah, it's amazing. I play with the nephew and he's just like, how do you know what? Oh, yeah, you just go here and you go there. Come on, you do this. It's just, oh my God. All right. Well, yeah, I've definitely aged out in terms of my gameplay as well because, just that sort of not having that free open world stuff is a bit challenging.
It's because they watch YouTube videos of people playing it and then they know where to go.
Where to go, what to do.
Speaking of which, I have been watching YouTube videos about it. That's probably what I will end up doing when it comes out, is watching other people playing it and seeing the cutscene. I have to say, it does look a lot of fun, and most of it does look gorgeous. I have to say, there's some of it I was looking at as going, that looks very Minecraft-ish, but they do emphasise that it's you're very free to go where you want to go in this. You're not pushed down one path. And you can start where you want to, though I did also see somewhere it said that you have to complete one movie before you can get to it, go on and do another one, but you can start where you want to.
I'm just excited to replay the prequel ones because I did have like the prequel, the old Lego ones, and like I have fond memories of using my grappler gun to go up to the palace on Theed, or running around with Jar Jar in the Gungan jungle.
Of course, I've got nothing to play it on. Is it on PC?
It should be. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's console only or if it's.
No, it's on all the platforms, but I'm unaware of the PC case status.
Maybe I might be able to get a trial, so it'll see if my laptop can handle it. Of course, I've never had a console, so as well as a Blu-ray player.
You need an Xbox so you can put a Blu-ray in it.
PlayStation.
Yeah. Okay, so last but not least, it's time to see what bargains Ron's been picking up this last month.
It's not always about the bargains, but touche, Stephen, touche. I tend to. So my Star Wars thing didn't comprise of much. I'll post some things here in the chat or whatever. But I did at a recent auction, a different auction, had picked up some puzzles from my childhood back in '77, and picked those up. Much to the wife's chagrin, because like you don't even know if they're complete. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna assume they're complete. Somebody held on to them for all these years or whatever. So finally took the opportunity, had the time with everything that's been going on and whatever, to complete the puzzles. And sure enough, the 500-piece puzzle kicked my butt. It's iconic Vader and Obi-Wan, but I did get that completed, and it was in fact complete. I just gave up on 1,000-piecer and said, I'm going to assume it's good. But I opened the box, and sure enough, the puzzle was in there in pieces. Now, obviously, a puzzle's in pieces, but if you know what I mean, it was in there in sheets. Big enough that they completed the puzzle and then put those puzzle pieces in sheets and broke it down like into quarters or whatever, and put it into the and placed it into the box. I'm like, oh great, I don't have to put this one together. Let me just see what it looks like. It's that iconic Hildebrandt poster, Luke and Leia, that looks nothing like Luke and Leia, but just an awesome. So I wanted to put it together just to see it, just to know that it was all there, whatever. And sure enough, I go to put it all together, and there was one section, one vein, if you will, of not one piece missing, but one vein. I'm going to post it in the chat. It's only good for us to see, whatever. But there's a line of like 6 pieces of the puzzle right smack in the middle. Like, to me, it looks like when they took the thing apart, they realized it was one row of puzzle pieces too big, so they had to pare that down. And then when they did, they lost track of it, let's say, or something happened that it did not make it into the box, or right smack in the middle of the puzzle.
Vader's face
is missing. It's not like one piece somewhere that you could kind of get by and not notice it's not there. So that was fun. It was good to add to the collection. Fun scores, whatever. Obviously, I finally picked up the Obi-Wan Entertainment Weekly, trying to track that bad boy down, and hadn't had much luck because there's not a lot of places, newsstands or stores that carry magazines or whatever. But
I heard, I was listening to something last week, one of my podcasts. I just randomly said, oh, but did you, talking about things, they say, did you know that Entertainment Weekly's done his last paper copy? I was like, what?
Yeah, that apparently this is, so they're going to go out with a bang, because I'm sure a lot of people picked it up. I never bought Entertainment Weekly. I'm buying it because it's got Obi-Wan, Star Wars on the cover, or whatever. So I'm sure they definitely had a bump in sales. But that's the reported truth. They're going to go online only in this day and age of print media is dead to some extent. There's another poor soul that is befallen that such that. Going out with a bang for sure. And then happened to be out and about somewhere and picked up, we've never talked about them, I don't have too many of them, but picked up a fig pin. These figures, big giant pins, lapel pins type of thing. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone actually
I've seen them
pin it on
GameStop.
Pin it on to themselves or whatever, but picked up a fig pin of tech. They're a large, 2 inches or so, very detailed, flat 2D representation of all the figures that we've come to know and love. They've done Ahsoka, they've done the Mandalorian and Boba Fett many times over, just because they know it'll sell and it's iconic. So it's kind of interesting to see the Bad Batch and to see tech. I don't know if they've done the others, but that was a bit of an impulse. Saw that and said that was kind of cool and picked him up.
What is a big pin? What was it?
I posted a picture of it in the chat.
It's a pin, but it's like a figure.
That's a pin. So like a lapel pin or
so you
something.
Wear it. You wear it.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you'd wear it. Like I say, it's a bit big and awkward.
It could be counted as flair.
Yeah, exactly. It would count as a piece of flair. It should probably count as 2 pieces of flair, given how large it is, and that is Star Wars, so it should be enough just to have that one piece, and you'd meet your flare quota from your meeting manager that requires X number of pieces of flare. A very obscure reference that we're going on and on about. I spied in on The Last Jedi. I don't know what I was doing. I was flipping around. I was on the DVR, and I was like, oh yeah, I need something to just be on. And man, that Last Jedi is a good flick. It is a shame people have their issues with it. It has its problems. They all do. But the first part of that Last Jedi just brings me to my 7-year-old self, and just the fun of the bad guys are there, the good guys are there, and he's all by himself. BB punch it, and they're flying through and destroying stuff, and it's just so much fun. So yeah, watch that, and quite, as always, quite enjoyed it. There's a lot of good stuff in that flick. And then here we are.
That movie does have like a really great opening with that whole bombing thing, and then like with Paige dropping the stuff. Yeah,
the bombs, and at the time I had a little bit of umbrage too with the slowness of it and the cinematic aspect of it. But now I just watch it as entertainment, which is the way you should be watching Star Wars, not be looking at how this guy shot it or this whatever. It just goes into it, or just the entertainment aspect of it. Yeah, it's good stuff. The good guys are on the ropes and find a way to make it happen. Good stuff.
Ron, I noticed that puzzle says Darth Vader versus Ben Kenobi.
Yeah, just looking at that. Yeah.
Well, so and likewise, was that down in the lower left? Yeah, the duels. Likewise, the saber colors on this puzzle are Kenobi's with a yellow saber and Vader's with every bit of what I dare not say it because I just don't want to get in trouble with the man, but it just looks like a pink saber. It's very much that.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
There was something to because the figures, the 3 3/4 back in the day came like Luke comes with a yellow saber, and well, technically he never had a saber too, but it was just the whole thing. And I forget what the reasoning, and forgot to look it up because you guys had asked about it. There was something to it. Looked better on screen, or I don't know, but obviously this is 77, I think is the date on this too. And Star Wars has blown up and took everybody by surprise. So they're just making anything and everything they can with regards to merchandising and puzzles. That's kind of why I picked these up. I remember them from my childhood. The only one I ever owned was the C-3PO R2-D2 one that them at the award ceremony all spruced up, and 3PO's got his hand on top of R2. I remember putting that one together, and Mom buying this magic stuff that let you keep a puzzle together. You put it on puzzle glue is what it was.
Yeah, it's glue.
You put it on. Yeah. Exactly. As a kid, it was magic that it kept the puzzle together. But you put it on the back of the puzzle, and then that was a poster of mine, so to speak, in my room. Was just a puzzle hanging on the wall, which I just thought was awesome. And these were, always coveted and wanted type of things, puzzles that from that 77 era. So yeah, they were just shipping stuff out because it's just Vader and Kenobi, the Falcons in the bit of the background. And they've got a little bit of movement in the sabers, which helped in terms of putting the puzzle pieces. They're not just straight lines, if you will, to help figure out some puzzle orientations. But yeah, the black sections of this. So Vader's blackness and Kenobi's dark brownness of his robes and everything. Those puzzle parts, those pieces were the challenging. I got most of it all together pretty easily, whatever. But when it came to that, there were literally some times just like, all right, we're going to try all the remaining 30 pieces. We're just going to stick them all in here one at a time and see which one fits.
Yeah, it looks like the bottom 10 rows you don't need because it's all just black. Like it's ridiculous.
On top of dark. And yeah, the box art makes it look a little bit more like Kenobi's is browner, whereas Vader's is black. But 40-year-old puzzle pieces and the coloration and the printing or whatever, yeah, they were just blending all together. Very, very, very much challenging. The lighting that I had probably wasn't the best either. But she got complete and all the pieces were there.
Ron, you might remember this because you were around. I don't, but I've seen pictures. Weren't like the original like lightsaber toys actually yellow?
Yeah, I definitely have one of those still.
Right. Yeah,
and yep, they were literally flashlights with plastic tubes. But yeah, they were also yellow, and I'm gonna guess they were yellow as well because of the what they were seeing in the photos and the marketing and what was out there. Not until later did it truly get fixed or corrected.
But it's funny because I was watching the one of the original theatrical releases. I think it was for A New Hope, and like Vader's lightsaber did look pink because just the way the coloring.
It's very odd that in all of the redos and reshoots of the movies or whatever, that they don't fix R5D4 at the Jawa scene where he's already moved on and then he's over the shoulder of R2. I don't understand how that one's never gotten fixed. And Vader's saber isn't more redder-fied, isn't turned a more crimson, a Sith crimson shade of red on his saber. It seems an odd easy thing to fix that they obviously choose not to for some reason. But yeah, that's my my fun foray for the last little bit that I can think of.
So with that 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, did you say you didn't put it all together? It was already in cloth?
Yeah, when I was surprised. I wasn't planning on it, but I opened the box, and much to my surprise, inside it was there in pieces.
It's actually 993 pieces.
I'm going to use that. Yeah, I'm going to use that joke again because it's funny. It's not. But no, it was in there in sheets. It was in there in like four quadrants, and the veins down the middle because they realized. To me, it seems
I
like they
see how
realized
it's separated.
they took it apart two puzzle pieces too wide, if you will. They were trying to do it in quadrants and it just didn't fit that way. And something happened to that one vein of pieces right there at Leia, right next to Leia, like you say, Ricky said, Vader's face.
Steven, this is why you glue them when you're done, so that way this doesn't happen. You can just frame it.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you going to glue them?
The other one, probably, yeah. I love that scene. And I thought about the Hildebrandt one to maybe try to find somebody else that's selling the puzzle that's missing pieces like down in the black, because the bottom of that where they're standing on the mountaintop or standing on the ground or whatever, the bottom of that is just black on black. That I could see those pieces easily have gotten lost over the years from some people, to see if somebody has those middle ones. And then I thought about it. It'd be interesting. Can you combine two puzzles? Will a puzzle, sure, they're cut the same way, but will they truly, those 6 pieces that I'm missing or 8 pieces, whatever it is, will they truly fit from another version of that same puzzle, or the cutting is off just enough that they should fit? You could hammer them in there, but they don't truly fit. It'll be, if I ever find this again that's missing pieces.
I never thought of that. Yeah, does the machine cut them all the same way? Or
I would imagine they are. It's each puzzle is the same. It's not unique, but just enough variance off could be, the first 10 cut versus the last 1,000. Are they off a little bit? If I ever find another puzzle like this and put it together, I'll let you all know.
Interesting.
Okay.
I haven't read the Entertainment Weekly thing yet. I just picked it up to have it in the collection. I'll read that sometime. I'll read that for next Senate.
Heck, you could have got a hold of me. Our local store had like 4 or 5 of them, and I was flipping through it, and it didn't look like it was too much entertainment stuff.
Yeah,
and all the Star Wars stuff was already released online. So I'm like, nah, the Star Wars issue with Darth Maul looked a lot better because it had like Darth Maul's history from beginning to end. And I was like, oh man, maybe I'll pick that up. I ended up not picking up either, hoping my library had them. But the Entertainment Weekly one is definitely just kind of collector's thing because it has very little Star Wars.
Any of those magazines like that, they're truly clickbait of that medium's tool that's out there, because any of the magazines that are a part of my collection that I've picked up over all these years because they had something Star Wars on the cover, there is 2-3 pages at best of there's just not a lot in there of the Star Wars, but the headline worked, got me to buy the magazine, and have it as part of my collection. But there's not a lot of meat inside of there. It's literally
it's merch.
Real world media. It's merch. It's real world media clickbait in terms of having that cover, knowing that Kenobi's coming and going to drop and do exactly what it did, got people like me to buy the magazine who have never bought the magazine otherwise. I'll read some of the other entertainment stuff.
That lightsaber on that cover, though, it's like super shiny for it being on Tatooine. Like, it should be duller.
Well, you never had to use it, so it's in the polished silver bag or whatever to keep it from oxidizing, and it's well maintained.
That case that on The New Hope when he takes Anakin's saber out, I read somewhere that was the same. It was used in another movie.
I think somebody was
Superman or something.
Oh,
it's in the background of Superman.
Trying to link it. Okay, so
I don't know.
It's not the same one Maz gets it out of, is it? She gets it out of a flipping case or something as well, isn't she?
I think people were trying to link it to something somehow, whatever.
Everything's linked.
Much like I've seen a meme going around where the little girl that's with Anakin in Ep 1 at the pod race is Pelly, that then is the old lady that talks to Rey, because they're all on Tatooine.
Yeah,
They were trying to link the three of them, which the timeline works, but I don't know if that's what they meant.
I think people got too much sand in their eyes.
Where was that lady walking to? Because there's nothing around their house.
Don't get into that. She's just passing by. It was a bit like in Boba Fett, in it, when all the Rancor and the huts and stuff were going to the palace and stuff, and it's like miles away, and it's just just walked.
Well, I think when we were talking about the Kenobi trailer last time, like when that scene with Obi-Wan looking at Luke with the binoculars, and then Ron, I think you said like, well, where is he sitting? Because there's nothing around, the homestead. There's no mountains. And so I was watching New Hope the other day.
The first we was talking about it in a special thing. I think I said.
Yeah, I was trying to look all the homestead scenes. Yeah, there's nothing around. All the homestead scenes. I was trying to say there's like no mountains anywhere around.
Well, is the camera point of view perspective, so to speak, where the mountains are? Like, we haven't seen. Have we seen all 360? Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, we haven't seen all 365 around their hovel, if you will, so to speak.
I think maybe episode 2 would probably have more looks at what's behind, because there's scenes where they're standing behind the house. I don't know.
I think we have seen it all the way around to some degree, maybe not a.
It's just a horizon. That's it.
He's got the macro binoculars, so you just don't know. How he could be very far away and how powerful those bad boys are.
Floating on a ship somewhere.
I never thought. It's surprising sometimes what becomes mimes, aren't they, or memes, as people will say. I can't believe that binocular stuff has just generated so many memes or mimes or memes.
It was so easy, yeah.
So many of them. I've never seen. Some of them are funny. Some are just a bit laboriously the same old stuff going on. But I have to say, I never would have thought that would have happened. But that's the world. They never fail to come up with something, do they, these days? I was going to ask about that Entertainment Weekly. I was wondering how much of the magazine was different to what was online, but you already answered that, really, is that there wasn't any. Pretty much no difference.
Yeah, I had no new images, no nothing. So I was like, I ain't wasting like $10 or something like that. I was like, heck no.
And I think online had more, because I think that day or later in the day they dropped. Didn't they drop info about Hayden and Vader or something? So I think online, and that's I can see why an entertainment thing is going like that, because print, that had to go to print, that had to be laid out in public. It just all that goes into that, getting it shipped to stores or whatever, took a month, 2 months, whatever. Then an online presence of Entertainment Weekly can allow for updated info and new stuff to drop each day, all that good stuff. I get it, it's 2022. But I can't. Of course, you can. You can take your phone with you. But I'd like take a magazine to the beach and flip through the pages and read up on stuff, kind of thing, or whatever.
Yeah,
so, there's different times, different era.
There's some things that you just want a magazine for, not swiping around your iPad or your phone trying to zoom into stuff.
Oh yeah, if it's a first time read, I will prefer a book every single time. So rather than digital. So probably just age groups, I assume.
It was $7 US, Stephen.
Oh right,
which is still salty.
I don't know what should be over here. Yeah, it's quite expensive.
It's like 2 comic books.
2 comic books, unbelievable. Especially if you're not going to read anything else in it. That's a lot of money.
It's really just a collector's thing. No biggie.
I think some of the High Republic books I bought were cheaper than this Entertainment Weekly issue.
What would be weird, and I don't know, is if this version of Entertainment, does it normally cost $5 and they bumped it up to $7 for this particular issue? They could have easily done that, gotten away with it. I wouldn't know, but I kind of think that's normal. I haven't heard anything to that, but I think it's
every time I've gone to the grocery store and I've seen like some kind of Star Wars themed magazine, they're always like around like $15 and $19. So I'm like,
well, yeah, those usually end up being like compilations, like an Entertainment Weekly will compile all of the Star Wars things that they've done into one special episode or unique episode or look back kind of stuff and get you by. And yeah, I've passed on those over the years because they end up being the same regurgitated information episode or magazine to magazine. But to that new fan or to that new person and that kid's standing in the aisle, that's why I collect. That was me, that kid in the aisle. Mom, can I have that? Can I have that? And you got it sometimes and sometimes you didn't. Yeah, you wanted that because I mean, I've said it many times. That's how we had to relive the movies, through the trading cards and any ancillary stuff like that. We just did not get them released on DVD or in a digital format mere months later to where you get to watch it over and over again. So it just.
Do they still have Star Wars Insider? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, that was the one with Maul on the cover, wasn't it? That's the one I was talking about.
That's what you're talking about? Okay. I have a lot of those. I think I used to have a subscription or something because I do have a few of those. It's funny because like the GameStop, if you sign up for their membership thing, you get that GameStop magazine. Now it's just digital. They don't.
You can still get the magazine.
Can you?
You can still get the magazine. Yeah, I get it.
I never look at the digital one, so I should have probably looked into that.
I think it's like $5 more, but again, I prefer floppy to digital if I can.
For magazines like that, yeah.
The GameStop is where I picked up the Fig Pen, and for the Funko Pop folks or whatever. I noticed they had a 5-figure collection of pops of the Bad Batch. Like I think they were individually selling the Bad Batch, and you were trying to find them or collect them and everything. But they had one box, a really long box that had had everybody, even Echo. And I think that's had a GameStop exclusive sticker.
I think it's going to be my go-to place now for Star Wars merch because that's the only place that has Star Wars. I mean, I found Hondo action figure there, 3 3/4 inch. So
yeah, GameStop's your mileage.
A bit of other ones. Yeah.
Your mileage
they're turning into a toy store for sure. I mean, I love GameStop.
They're definitely got the collector's things, but yeah, you can go. Your town or a large town can have 3 or 4 of them, and you can go to
there's one like literally right here.
They'll all have different stuff on the shelves because they have different stock. What gets rotated, some managers of stores are good, some managers aren't. Whether there's collectors in the area that scoop it up, a GameStop's always a fun hit if you are traveling in a different town or out and about or whatever. Just if you see one, just to go in. And as Steven joked to start me off or whatever, they will always have a clearance rack somewhere in the back, big yellow signage or whatever, and it's always fun to go hit those because GameStops are expensive for the collectors. Yeah. It's not really a collector's thing. It's the kid goes in there to want to buy a game and also sees that one. Not that the collectors don't.
They did have Boba Fett's ship there when I went to one of the GameStops around here, but that thing was like expensive, so I'm like, I was like, it's right there. Yeah. I could pick it up.
GameStop's not a place to find. Now, if you can find something on the clearance rack, you can score some items. But they tend to have things, just a couple of them. But they'll sell them at every bit of the retail list price. I saw that. I don't remember what I saw. The helmets, a couple Black Series guys that were GameStop, but like a Knight Brother, a Maul looking guy that's in yellow was there. A blue trooper, I can't remember who he was, a fire trooper. There were a number of Black Series things. But you're right, Ricky, it is a bit of a go-to for Star Wars merch. A lot of Grogu stuff, a lot of Mandalorian stuff that was there in this one particular GameStop that I hit. But yeah, the stores are sparse. They're Star Wars is definitely fun. And where it really hurts that it's falling out of favor is the dollar stores. The red, yellow, and green dollar stores usually would have a small little peg or two of some Star Wars stuff, and there's nothing to be had in there. So that's how you know it's out of sorts.
Okay, it's time to talk the High Republic, I think, so we can get it out of our system and cover. We might actually, for the first time ever, we might actually be talking about Seven not long after it's come out for a change. Just so we've got the 2 comic series to cover in the High Republic, as well as the book right in front of me here. Was it the older? It just says older on the side. Does that mean older adults or older children? Book Midnight Horizon. What do you want?
The young adult.
Middle grade.
That's what I thought it was. But they say older on the thing, which confuses me.
Adult.
Yeah.
That's the author's name.
Yeah, Older's name. Yeah,
it is. It's Jose Older.
Yes, Daniel Jose Older. Yeah,
it is, isn't it? Yeah, I just got confused when I saw older, and I thought it meant older children. Oh, that's oh man, there's always something that getting me confused. Okay, just to answer the earlier question, it's Todd Habercorn who reads the audio book, and he did do Race to Crash Point Tower, and also. He's also in Squadrons as well.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, he's an Imperial pilot apparently in Squadrons.
I probably talked to him.
And as I was googling around looking for that, I saw this is going to make you all laugh. I saw a Google Play review for the Midnight Horizon audiobook, and somebody's put in here. They reviewed it. I won't say who it is. They put 3 out of 5. Not the same without John Williams. This is the first High Republic book that I didn't really enjoy. Quite slow, honestly. I think, what the heck's John Williams got to do with it?
Yeah,
I mean, this person really gone. I mean, it's like somebody coming in. Not the same about George Lucas. It's got nothing to do with it.
Have they ever had John Williams music in any of these High Republic books?
Well, they do.
Pretty sure.
They have sometimes done
They
it.
have that
They do a
type of
little bit
music.
at the start, don't they? I'm trying to think. I have listened to a few, but they do.
But that's not what I'm looking for for a book. Like, I hope this book has some John Williams in
I
it.
don't know if he's picked up the audio book and thought he was picking up one of the the music sort of musical
I
stuff.
think the song has a lot of words.
Not the same about John Williams. Like, I'm sorry if that person's listening, but I mean that's not actually got anything to do with the book. Okay, so we haven't played the game. We haven't played the game, though you might already know the answer. I've got to say that in my last 30 days, I have been reading Midnight Horizon, the book, the hardcover book.
It's so funny, Stephen. We switched roles because I did the audiobook and you read
I know. I don't know what the High Republic. I don't know what it's done to me, but I've gone from not reading any Star Wars books, not reading any books at all, to actually buying comics digitally, listening to audiobooks I've never done before, and now this time around buying the actual physical book, purely because the audiobook, for some bizarre reason, doesn't actually come UK to like July or something.
See, I have the physical book, but like I didn't think I was going to get a chance to read it this week.
I was disappointed there's no pictures in it, I have to say, but then I realised this is not the junior one.
No, there's no pictures.
I was getting excited again. Oh, great! I'll just have a quick look at
there's
some of the
the
pictures.
black page that says part 1. And
That's
then-
quite fun. Yeah, I went straight to that. I thought, oh look, I look at this side of this, and I can see every so often there's some black pages. Well, this is great. This is the images. And I thought part 2, part 3. Oh.
I do wish all the book came with some images because I'm like a visual reader, so I like to see how characters and ships really look.
Actually, yeah, for me, because that, I mean, you guys are, I always feel like a bit of a lightweight in the Star Wars world here. You guys know your characters, you know your species, you know your worlds, you know your ships and stuff. For me, when they're talking about species, I didn't get halfway through the book. I think I was halfway through the book, not going into the plot here. I was halfway through the book until I realised that when the species, the male species who got killed was like Mother. The Stardew was that kind of creature that we saw at the start of Solo. Halfway through the book until I realised that. If I knew my species, I would have picked up on that within the first few pages, but I didn't.
See, and then like there's ones that I know when I hear the name, but then like I go and check, I'm like, oh, that's a completely different species than I thought it was.
I really needed. But I mean, Ryan sent me. I can't remember what you said. You sent me the challenge to read it in time for this Senate. So I've been reading like 10 chapters almost a day.
Nice.
Most days. I can't claim I've read every word. But I've got.
You skipped all of these.
I know the story. But yeah, I could really do it. Sometimes I could do like stopping after a couple paragraphs and Googling to find out what a species. They say that this species, that species. And I thought I don't know what they look like apart from the obvious.
Like it's a down twin or something. Like I don't know what that is.
And Trunakes. I know what they look like, but the rest of them, like, I can't believe it took me half a book to realise that Pribot, what was called, was one of those worms, as they keep calling them in this thing. So yeah, so it's not going to be much of a quiz really, but I won't even let you bother to guess because it can just be cheating really. I did finish this in time for the Senate. I actually read the last 2 chapters this morning. I actually flicked through them last night. Thought there's no way I'm going to bed not reading the last 2 chapters. So I quickly flicked through them, got the gist of it, and I thought I'll read them slower in the morning.
Steven, you might have been annoyed by the audiobook because with that last line, it just ends, and I thought like my app messed up because like I'm like, wait, what? He just stopped talking, and then that was it. I'm like, what happened? But yeah, it was kind of odd. But good, you finished it.
I absolutely would. I mean.
Lady Proxima actually was in the book from Solo.
Yeah, she was. I mean, that's one of the siblings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I imagine
the smallest one.
I imagine that was another tie-in. So, Ryan, did you have any notes to sort of give us the synopsis for this book for Ron's sake and stuff?
I have a bunch of notes. I'll try to slim them down. So generally, this book takes place after Mission to Disaster. So for people who like following this stuff, so it kind of goes Mission to Disaster, and then now, which we reviewed last time, and then now on to Midnight Horizon. So it has a lot to do with the comic characters. They're coming into this, which I thought was good.
Ones.
Yeah, it is the younger ones from the High Republic Adventures. So they come into it. They go to Corellia. They pretty much pick up tips that there's problems in Corellia. So they go there and they start looking around and they realize that the Nile are kind of starting to interfere in politics and starting to appear in the underground for everything that's going on. I'll skip kind of the beginning of it and I'll focus more on the end because honestly, this book immediately placed in my top 5 of any of the High Republic.
It's definitely a book of two halves.
Yeah. So, and I understand people saying it's a slow beginning. I don't want to hear that crap because Stephen King books are 1,000 pages. Every book, every single movie is a slow beginning, but it feels like it's constantly building more and more. And, one of the big reasons I read these books is because they're so heavy on the Jedi. And I was so happy that they focused. It was 3 separate parts. One was, it's almost point of view from 3 separate groups of characters. The Masters, they were kind of going on their own adventure, and they kept leaving the Padawans behind, and the Padawans kept going on their own adventures.
That's Comac and Cantum, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cantum and Comac Vitus, the Masters, kept doing their own things. And then Reeth and Ram kept going on their own adventures, which Ram, and I said this from Race to Crash Point Tower, I believe it was, he immediately became one of my favorite characters, and this was 1,000% cemented in this book. He's definitely one of my top 5.
I'll say for the first half, I was just to interrupt. I did love him in Race to Crash Point Tower. I was really annoyed with him in this one because everything the first half was. We'll come to this discussion a bit afterwards. The first half for me, maybe the first third actually, not really the half, all felt like a Mills and Boons and a comedy sketch to me. There's a lot of jokes, one after the other. I was like, am I reading something serious here? Are we just going to have a joke every 5 seconds?
I did think that too. At very really inopportune times.
It was really like kitty in the beginning.
It's a serious meeting, and they're all cracking jokes and laughing about the situation.
And Zine's like dancing around and like
Corbin Buck is joking. So I definitely know what you're talking about. I had to look past
and the
that.
level stuff. The first third was like scenes enough for Lula, and Lula's another scene. Ram loves machinery and would probably make love to a starship. Reef fancies practically everyone as a woman.
He does. So funny. He's just like, I love women.
I thought there's a lot of that in the first third, I have to say. But you're right. As it goes along, it does pick up a lot more seriousness.
Yeah, I do feel like the first part was like the middle grade book, and then it evolved into the young adult book.
Yeah. And then the other point of view,
the whole politics in Corellia and that whole espionage and bodyguard and that stuff. Honestly, I had no idea what was going on for the first third. I mean, I just made notes. It's just names and species.
Yeah,
I had no idea what was going on, so I just went with the flow of it. Well, I'll work this out. But by the time you get halfway along, and sort of like Crash, as you go into it, Crash becomes more of a main character. It was a lot more. I actually really liked the gang. To start off with, it's like there's so many different species, so many different characters, but this means nothing to me. I've never met these people before in my whole life.
Yeah.
But then when you get halfway through and they all become big buddies and they all sort of come together and stuff, then like, I really like this crew. I'd like to see more adventures with them.
So how many different characters are they gonna have where their mom gave them control of their business in these books? Because this was like the third one.
Yeah, Crash had that too.
Yeah.
Parents are out, kids are in.
It's like,
like I said,
it's from the mom, and then like they have issues. So, but this one didn't have issues, but the job did. But yeah, I just thought it was like stop making the same character over and over.
Yeah, glad to see a mom that isn't evil. So.
Yeah, that was an evil.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yes.
She made them
carry on with the synopsis, Ryan. Sorry.
Yeah, so the other point of view was, as we mentioned, was the character of Crash. She was like a paid security guard that does stuff. She took over the business from her mom. So, she was, to me, the least interesting character because I read it for Jedi, but she had an important part. And I'm really happy because her introduction was in the High Republic Adventures annual comic, which in that comic, it was my least enjoyable story because it was just a security guard who I didn't know who it was. protecting Chancellor So, and I was like, I don't know any of these characters. Well, once I realized that was absolutely a prequel to Midnight Horizon, and it showed Prybolt, it showed all of her members, like it literally showed what her and all these characters look like. So it's almost like if you want to know what the characters look like, read that 5-page story from the annual, and it made me just love it as a whole because Daniel Jose Older is brilliant, and just the way that things connect. Like you see this, story that doesn't mean much, and then you realize it's a setup for the entire book. So I was like, oh, that was fantastic to read all that. But just to get Crash's story out of the way, it's pretty much she sends, like I said, Prybolt, who's the worm, who's the Lady Proxima species, and he gets killed, and she spends the whole book just kind of looking for him, going through the Nile, realizes that a government official who thought was dead actually joined the Nile, and she goes to the underground sewers, and pretty much it's not Lady Proxima, but it's Lady, who's the new worm queen.
Oh, what's her name? Fedora.
Begins with an F, doesn't it? Pastema.
That's to the
Yeah,
right?
Pastema. Yeah. So she's the leader of the underground from Solo. It takes place in Corellia, but she's the leader in this era. So, and it ends up like she was gonna kill Crash because she's like, listen, Prybolt was one of my 1,000 kids, and if you can't find his killer, I'm gonna kill you. So Crash ends up finding it on this politician who invited the Nile to Corellia because he doesn't like the Corellian government anymore, and he wants Nile to take over. And it ends up being Lady Festima, listens to this guy's speech, and she ends up killing him, and Crash is all cool. So, that's the small part of the story.
I have to say,
I just wanted to get that out of the way.
I'd say in the first third, I made sort of two. This is the trouble with making bets about how you think someone's going to go. This is one reason why I don't make bets in real life, because for the amount that you win them on, you also lose on as well. And I made sort of two bets myself. I thought, they're mentioning a certain Jedi a lot here in this book. I bet this Jedi turns up before the end. And I was
we'll get to that.
Right. I won't say it, but I was proved right. And another thing was I reckon they find out at the end this Prybolt is still alive and he was working on the other side. Lost that one. So that's why you don't make bets, children, because they don't always come as you think they're going to go. So for all the money I would have won on, spoiler, won't say yet, I would have lost on the other one.
Yeah. So then it's all these hijinks. They start to realize more and more that the Nile have an entire army on Corellia, and their plan is to steal a bunch of Republic ships because it's part of the Fallen Star story. So we all know that Starlight Beacon was attacked and it's getting destroyed, and that takes place in the middle of Midnight Horizon. And the plan for the Nile is they have hundreds of Nile on Corellia to steal Republic ships, go to the crashed, act like they're going to help, and then destroy a bunch more people. And that's even mentioned in Eye of the Storm #2 that was the plan. So the Jedi realize the plan, and there's only one way to stop them. And that one way is a full-on, one of the best battles I've ever read story in this book. So it pretty much turns out to be the Jedi, the Masters and the Padawans meet back up, and they gather a whole bunch of Corellians. Crash makes this speech to the planet of Corellia, almost like, to the area of Corellia. And it's like, listen, the Nile are here to take our ships to run roughshod across the galaxy. We have no military right now because they're all on the moon dealing with other problems. So they're like, we have to stop this. So you have all these people of Corellia coming together, and then with the four Jedi, including Zine, 5, I guess you can call them.
So what do we think the actual, what's the numbers here? What do you think the ratio numbers here? So we got 2 Padawans.
They've said there's
Masters,
over 100,
Zine.
but yeah, there's over 100 Nile.
Right.
Yeah, because they took over the police force,
It
basically.
seemed like 200 or 300, I would have thought. They cut down like 10 or 20, and there was another 10 and 20.
And I like that, because in Solo, he made it seem like, Corellia is like, oh, you grew up in Corellia, you must be crazy, like it's the mean streets. So all these people that join them to fight are like fighters, they're used to being.
This is like talking about Attack of the Clone being my favorite. This favorite prequel series. This is like Battle of Geonosis, wasn't it? Really, this is.
This just went wild. So it ended up being the Jedi ended up almost like the Padawans were in one group and the Masters were one, and it was just a straight on battle, like the Nile running at Jedi and running straight at Corellians. And I loved Reith's point of view.
Reith almost dying again.
Yeah, Reith's point of view, where he's like, listen, I'm all for protecting life, but it's actually all of them were thinking that. Maybe except Ram, that it's like, I'm all for protecting life, but this is enough. They're coming to steal these ships.
Oh,
They're going to
didn't
go
wanna-
attack
yeah.
Starlight Beacon. Yeah, and they just literally just started lopping people up. That
They're
was
like, "You
amazing.
gotta-
They were
you
literally
gotta
just
be
like
on the offense,
cutting
man."
off arm. Yeah, they weren't saving anybody this time. So the battle was just utterly amazing. And at one point, it's Wreath like in Ram. It's Wreath, really. It's Wreath and Ram in a starship above
Yeah.
as the Nile are charging the Corellians.
Yeah.
And then Wreath is like, okay, I have to stop this because the Corellians are about to get slaughtered by the Nile. And all of a sudden he sees the two masters, Comac and Cantum, flank. And this is, I'm picturing it from above. You know, he's looking down this battle and he sees a green saber and a blue saber coming in from the sides that starts chopping up Nile, you know, like Lord of the Rings, you know, look to the east, and they're just coming through and breaking up the things. And then Wreath jumps out of the starship. He's not up in space, but he jumps out of the sky and he lands like superhero style landing, bang, like right in front of the Corellians. And all the Nile turn and look, and there's like Wreath. I can just picture it in my head. Superhero landing, lights the saber, and then just runs into this crowd. Like,
Hello there.
this is what I want from the Jedi, is they instill hope. Like the Corellians are terrified, they're being surrounded. You have two come flanking from the side, and one falls from the sky and lands in front of everybody and lights a saber. It just charges through, lapping everybody up. So it's an amazing battle. Wreath ends up almost dying, you know, very injured. He sounds like he's going to have an eye scar, which, you know, to be a BA, you got to have an eye scar. So he's saved by Ram. Ram takes, you know, Padawan Ram, who controls, his ability is to kind of control mechanics, and that's what I love. So
It's
instead of like,
Magneto, isn't it? Like the Jedi version of Magneto.
so he can see inside starships, and he's like, several times he's like, I crushed the muffler so it doesn't run. I pulled these wires out, you know, using the Force. So I love he's not just trying to hold the ship back. He's literally picking apart from the inside using the Force. So I love that. So Ram saves
that ship
Wreath.
he had no windows, right? There was no viewports in that ship.
Yeah,
because it
so
was
he
made for
saves
Jedi.
Wreath.
It's in a little starship, wasn't it? I got confused about it. I mean, honestly, I should have Googled it because I had no idea what a long beam.
It doesn't show what it is. I tried to look. So when I listened to it on the audiobook, I got a little bit better. Yeah, I was able to listen a little bit more, but almost picture it like from The Incredibles. There's a ship that drills through the ground and they pop up, the Mole Man or whatever, or comics. Just think of it like a flying ship, and its only purpose literally is to slam into things. And it has a big drill on the front and then computers on the inside that kind of just show what it sort of looks like on the outside. And this ship is like 200 years old. It's banned by the Republic and by the Jedi because the ship is deemed to be too aggressive. And they have one almost like in a museum, and Ram steals it. And the Nile happened to take off with two ships, you know, two long beam Republic, one long beam and one Halcyon pretty much ship. And Ram, you know, while Comac and Vitus are fighting on the ground, again, another amazing battle. Ram jumps in this ship called the Eviscerator, and I love how he says it only has two options: destroy and accelerate. And it has three types of acceleration: accelerate, more accelerate, and hyper accelerate. So I love it. He flies up and he just rams the ship into the long beam and drills into it. Yeah, he drills into it. He pops out. He pops out in the long beam, kills. No second thought. That's what I love. No second thought on the Nile. He just cuts them down. Well, it happens that the other ship that they took is the one that Wreath is in, because Wreath is so injured. Ram put him in the ship, and he just sets him in there to recover
in a box.
And
storage box.
Yeah.
Isn't he?
So the ship, surprisingly, takes off with Wreath inside of it. Ram contacts.
Quite a funny scene that is. I think one of the funniest scenes when Wreath goes to the bridge.
And he what is it? Force pushes him.
She's saying, "Oh, if you come to destroy your Star Knight beacon," he goes, "Yes."
Yes.
Well, that's a little bit more.
Because he's talking to his earpiece.
Yeah, his earpiece.
Yeah.
He's like, "You're more enthusiastic than I would expect."
Then Ram, flying the other ship, rams it into Wreath's ship. So now, you know, he tells me, he's like, "Listen, Wreath, you're gonna have to jump out the sky again." But this, you know, he's barely able to walk. So he jumps out. He's now free falling through the sky. Ram gets back in the Eviscerator drill ship, drills through the other two, you know, drills through both ships, and then catches him mid-air falling, you know, in the battle. and then lands on the ground. Like, it's just action after action. That's the type of stuff that would make an amazing movie. That he's falling out the sky.
You talk about the Rise of Skywalker stuff, fighting on top of the cruisers, and we talk about what happened in the Trins and stuff. This is on that sort of level, isn't it? Really, it's like crazy stuff going on. I had trouble trying to envisage exactly what's going on.
When it does come out over there for you, I would suggest just listening to the audiobook, like, for fun, because it's. I mean, there was a lot of the battle stuff, like, made it seem like a movie. Like, it was really good.
It's explained with the music. So while all that's going on,
pew pew pew.
Yeah. While all that's going on, Masters Cantum and Comac are struggling to keep the rest of the Corellians. It's now like one small group of Corellians against all these Nile, and they're protecting the shipyard. They're trying to get these. And the Nile are dropping all their gas bombs. They can't breathe. It's just written like such a war movie. They're struggling to stand. People are dying all around them. They're not going to make it. So they're surrounded by this cloud of gas from the Nile. They realize this is probably their last stand, and suddenly the entire gas cloud disappears in one giant force push, and they're all standing there confused. The Nile no longer have their cover. The Corellians are confused what happened. The Masters are confused what happens, and they're standing that just force pushed an entire cloud. Master Yoda returns to save everybody. No reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
He's been missing for over a year and a half, while hunting the leveler down. And he just appears on Corellia. He force pushes an entire city's worth of cloud away, and there stands Master Yoda. And I can't remember exactly what it says, but it's just Yoda says,
help. It's like you need some help or something.
Yeah. He says, I got this. That's it. I got this. Like, that's it. So he charges. Yoda then rallies everybody. So now it's again another battle show where you have the one dude who returned. This is what I say. It's good that you've taken big characters off the board because they're too strong. So, and now the final of phase 1, I believe phase 2 will have much more Yoda centric.
Yeah.
And then phase 3, you have the big players like Avar and Yoda. Well, it proves Yoda is without a doubt just a total BA. And he pulls a ship out of the sky. That's what it was. There's a ship trying to take off. And Comac is holding on to this third ship. So again, we have another. It might be Comac or Cantum. They're trying to stop this ship from blasting off, and he can't do it. He's like, I'm too weak. It's been too long of a battle. The cloud disappears. Yoda says, I got this. And with a flick of his wrist, he smashes the ship against the ground. He's like, I'm good. He smashes it, and then he rallies everyone. One chance we have for this, whatever he says. And now it's a line of Corellians. 3 Jedi, Master Yoda, Zine running at the Nile, and Yoda just Attack of the Clone style, just jumping from person to person.
Yeah, that he was jumping on people's chests and flipping and everything.
Yeah, it's literally people just staring at Yoda, flipping through as he just kills wave after wave of Nile. And I was like, I'm literally sitting on the couch quietly, and I just slap my face, and my wife just looks at me like, what's going on? And I'm like, Yoda just returned, and he is so awesome in this book. So I just love that battle. One of the best endings for any books I've ever read, and with one of the biggest returns, which I'm so happy I've seen no spoilers, even though I read it months after it released.
No,
I am shocked. I was not able to see the spoiler.
No, I mean, given the amount of time they had done the backstory of Cantum and his sort of love affair was one of the Ever Mills and Boone's side of things in this thing. But the amount of time they've gone on about, I miss Yoda. I miss Yoda. I wish Yoda was here. I still miss Yoda. What are we going to do?
Graham said, I've never met him. Like, I met him once.
I thought Yoda's got to turn up somewhere in this book. I couldn't work out how it was just going to turn up, and it's still
somehow Yoda returns. It's just somehow Yoda returns.
I mean, there's a lot of explanations to be done, and the fact that he was there on Corellia and didn't interfere earlier or whatever. I'm sure.
And that's why I was asking Ryan, like, if I should read the last, because I was like, well, is there more to the story of how he got there or who the guy was that he was with?
It's not. It's not like the Marvel comic. It's strictly just Lula's point of view. It's almost word for word when they're talking to Zine and Crix, when they're talking to Crix.
Yeah.
It's almost scene for scene. Yeah, so it's almost scene for scene, but instead of Lulu's point of view from the comics, we now have Zine's point of view and her getting in the, in the book, in the comic is Lula and here it's Zine. So, but yeah, it's Yoda returns, awesome battle. The Corellians win. They kill unrelentlessly all the Nihil. So they saved them from stealing any of these ships. Then that's when Ram and Reef, fall back to the planet, and Reef jumps out. He's like, holy crap, it's Master Yoda. Like, it's brilliant. So, and it ends with Reef becoming a knight. Yeah. He gets knighted. Cormac, who's been struggling and asking questions the entire book, which we can touch on it later. Cormac just runs off. He gives his lightsaber to Reef, who now has 2 lightsabers. So I'm like, Reef is becoming, Reef is becoming super BA right now, and I'm really happy with it. So,
presumably
he ran off.
Yeah, presumably, I get from the nod he gave to Yoda that they already had this conversation. He just suddenly run off out through the door and stuff.
Yeah,
it's quite amazing because Reef at the start of the this is some of the things you get in these kind of junior things. At one minute they're acting like an impetuous child, and the next minute they're acting like a full-blown 20-year career Jedi kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there were some ridiculous things that both Ram and Reef were doing at the start of this book. But when
they were in the disguises and stuff, the Red Skull people, I forgot. The Scarlet, whatever. And he tells that woman, she's like, "Hey, you're not supposed to talk." He's like, "How do you know I'm using my tongue?"
Yes.
I thought you guys didn't have tongues. Who said it was mine? Like, it was very funny. So Comac leaves, which we can touch on a little bit. Yoda, for some reason, has somebody in a hood. So again, it's like there's so much mystery still. Where Phase 3 cannot take that big of a jump. Like, it just can't. Like, there's so much. Like, Comac, whoever this guy is that Yoda brought back, who is singing songs about the Nameless. So he's just like,
he's singing the
Bruno. He's like Bruno in the corner going crazy, not knowing what's going on. So, and then it ends on probably one of the best endings I can think of for the end of Phase 1. Yoda's just talking to everybody, and he says, "To forge our paths to the future, guided by the secrets of the past, we will be." And then that's the end of Phase 1. Like, what a perfect setup for Phase 2 being a prequel. Like, guided by the secrets of the past. And now we're getting the past.
We called all the Jedi back to Coruscant.
Yeah, kind of like Obi-Wan on episode 3.
So it's the complete opposite now to Revenge of the Sith, where they were telling everybody, get away from Coruscant. He's now telling everybody to come to Coruscant.
Come back,
Yeah, so it was just an amazing, it's probably my 4th favorite, just because I have to rank the adult novels first, just because they had such huge moments. But my goodness, Midnight Horizon just had me cheering by reading it. I loved this book, and I read these books to see Jedi, and that's what I've been saying. The High Republic makes me feel like this is what Jedi were always supposed to be. They are the light of the galaxy. They instill hope. And now you have dudes dropping out of the sky to protect a group of people. And I'm like, oh, yes. So,
and then they're not like tied up in like ceremony stuff. Like when they knight them, they're like, okay, you're a knight now. It's not like a big, huge deal.
They make it a bit. I think they kind of make it a deal with, I think Lula in the comics.
Yeah, because they just cut off his braid and then, okay, you're a knight now.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. As long as you have a couple masters there, oh, you're a knight. That's it. No big ceremony needed. So back to Comac. I found his story kind of interesting because the whole time he quit. So why do you guys think he may have left the order? Like, do you have a guess of why he may have?
Because he wanted to join the circus, like Kim.
That's Canton.
I know he wanted to be like Canton.
And I like how Canton was like, "That's not the point. That's not the point of the story, Comac." Like, that was funny.
So I don't know if he was like in love with Orla or he just had a connection as a friend or as a mentor or whatever. Because she was helping. She was kind of doing the same thing with him that she was doing with, was it Elzar, right? In the other book where she.
She taught. Yeah, well, I mean, they grew more like Orla.
But helping him like relax and like get away from the the negative thoughts he was having. She does that meditation stuff with them, right? Because she was doing that in the other book to the other.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just weird. All these Jedi are just like leaving,
Yeah, and that's my thought behind it is maybe this isn't what he wanted the Order to be. I mean, they're slowly becoming the leaders in a war. He has all these people dying around it, and just like real life, sometimes you were there to be a peacekeeper. You were there to be a monk. You were there to bring help to people. Yeah. But when it turns to a battle and there's too many people dying, in real life, some people just can't handle it. And
he kept arguing the whole book with Cantum, like, like, oh, we need to be. He was the one telling Canton like we need to be more aggressive and we need to not just use it for defense. We need to attack now. And Canton's like, yeah, but that's not really what we were supposed to do. And he's like,
yeah, he's almost losing
like,
it. You know,
like he went too far and maybe he didn't like what he felt. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, too many people die. Yeah, so I'm hoping they tell more in at least a comic or something. I don't know. Just give us, because I do want to know why he left. That's not for sure why, but he had all these questions. He's like, you ever think about being a way seeker like Orla? I just want to get away from the order type of thing. Like it's almost like they're getting too involved now, and he's getting mad.
Well,
and
they all have PTSD from all the from the fair, and then from Starlight Beacon and everything. So
yeah,
there's like
it's been 800 years of relative peace, and now it's
well,
like,
and they said like they never used their sabers. Like they never turn them on, because there's no one to use them against. So, but now they have, like in the past year. So
yeah,
probably easier for some of the younger ones to accept that in some respects. Although obviously, like Ram was saying, like he hardly ever, and Reef hardly ever used a saber or kill anybody at that point. But I think maybe for the older stewards, I mean, Colmac in a way is doing a bit of a Qui-Gon Jinn, isn't he? I suppose on us. In this way that he's
well, but the whole beginning he was like
the changes.
They're like, oh, they're training again, like they're dueling again. Like he was even missing meetings because he just kept trying to like fight better, and they kept pushing Reef.
Yeah, it's almost like he's losing his. I don't know. I don't want to say losing his connection like Skier, but he definitely seems like he's just not in it all the way. He's, maybe this isn't for me type thing. But yeah, Reef did awesome, and then I love how Ram came in and then did an awesome. When they're practice dueling. They practice dueling, they both do it. So it's like, oh man, I hope we just jump a very short amount of years where these characters are just awesome, because Ram and Reef are amazing.
Well, then he's like, do you want, let's use a practice thing. He's like, no, let's use our sabers, let's actually use our
and he's like, yes.
Yeah. And
they force push each other, and is that how it's going to be? And they just wreck house through the whole ship, like destroying things. It's for fun. As a battle. So that was really good. But yeah, Colmac, I hope to see more of him. But I do got to say, when it comes to Cantum, I love the way they told his backstory. And I think it did much better because I know they told another similar backstory in Rising Storm. And that one was kind of hard for me. That one really wasn't all that interesting. Orla's backstory. I'm not like a huge Orla fan, Jareni. So that backstory was okay. But I loved Cantum's story. You remember they crash on the planet and, her master dies.
Yeah, there we go. Wasn't that?
Maybe I'm wrong.
I like the way I did. I commented a few times in some of the previous stories how some of these back stuff, flashbacks and things like that annoyed the heck out of me. But I have to say that this one was all right. I quite enjoyed it, mostly because they split it up. They split it up a bit as well. They made it a bit more interactive. It wasn't just thrown in there and no reference to it.
I just kept laughing because he was telling, the way they make it really dramatic and romantic when he's talking about the stuff. I'm like, is he actually telling this to Comac?
And it always seemed like it was.
Yeah.
That's what's
really
really
funny.
You gotta tell him more of the story.
He sort of says that kind of thing, sort of like steady on, you old sort of.
He's like, you should probably stop right now. He told them that at some point. He's like, I think we're good, but you'll have to tell me the rest.
Yeah,
of the story.
So it was a good story of how he straight up left the order out of love. So and then eventually that fling ended, and he's like, I think it was. I
love that part where with the kids and the bird thing, like that was like great.
Yeah,
Jedi
and it had a reason, and it talked with Yoda, and Yoda, it's like, yeah, you may have left, and Yoda's like, I was hurt, but he's like, I'm not here to stop your path. So he leaves the order for a fling. He falls in love, and then that fling just ends. Like, what, this really isn't working out all that well. It's not like he made a mistake, and they just agree to go their separate ways.
Yeah,
and. With a circus boy, and I just loved it. It was so funny. It's like, oh, you fall in love with a boy at the circus. Hilarious. So, and then he just goes and does, security work. And then in that security work, like you said, he saves 2 children. Well, he saves 1 child, and then that child instinctively saves another, and it ends up being his, what would later be his Padawan, Lula. Yeah. And it's like, and he comes back to Yoda, and he's like, you found Lula because of the path you took, so you did the right path. And I just thought it was a great backstory.
Yeah.
Of how,
so do we know what happened
committed to the Jedi? Lula?
Yeah.
She, in the comics it's not said, and just like Master Torben Buck, we don't know. I had to put her on the.
I
don't know what happened.
I did like they explained the buckets of blood thing because it's been confusing the heck out of me, and like he actually like laid it out like why he screams that because I was like this makes I don't know, I've heard him explain it before like on the High Republic shows, but it actually
in the
makes more
comics.
sense the way it does here in this book.
Yeah, he just understands this differently. People call me buckets of blood so I can return their blood to the body.
Yeah.
So everyone's always taken aback how he's super peaceful and funny, and he's not like the Santa Claus like character.
But then he yells it, and so then
The
the
Blade of
enemies
Bardo,
think
yeah.
like they get scared because he's yelling buckets of blood.
So we've got quite a few number of Jedi and people who are presumed dead, maybe missing, presumed dead, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, can they all come back in Phase 3, sort of thing, or are we gonna? I mean, if these ones all came back alive, like got them Barry, as I call him, Buryaga,
He was missing.
Lula,
Missing, presumed dead.
Lula,
Bucket,
Yep.
Hitman,
Orbelin, Spear,
yeah.
and Bucket.
You see, that's the thing I didn't understand in that.
Didn't Orbelin die?
Well, I don't think he can't be
No,
killed
remember-
by a shot like that.
He was
They made it
stabbed or
they made
shot,
it- they
and
made
it
it
was like
sound-
he's a bucket of goo.
Yeah, they
I
made it
thought-
sound. They made it sound final in the book, but I was like, we just had it in the other book. The one
I
on
thought what's her name killed him.
It was on final, that kind of stuff, and he wasn't in the suit for a period of time. He can survive quite easily outside of that, and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like, well, he can't be dead from just one little shot like that. But in the way they did it in the book, they made it sound like it was the end.
Yeah, what's her name killed him, right? Tempest Runner. What's her name?
Nora D.
Because she's like, this is for what happened at the fair. Remember, because she fought him in that room in the fair, and so she killed him out of revenge. I thought he died.
I don't think he is.
Well, that's the thing. Like
He can die like that.
his species is a bucket of goo.
Yeah.
If you just maybe she shot his arm off. I don't know. Like he's still a bucket of goo. If he's dead, he's dead. I understand, but it's like he just went through a battle. He was stabbed, and he literally just soaked up a guy's arm and then beat the guy up. He's a bucket of goo. So I can't imagine a gunshot really killing him. It'd be different if she threw him out to space or ejected him to freeze or something like that. So I definitely have I have him on my maybe dead. I don't know.
And Avar's she's there, but she's kind of just broken now. So like the ones that are there, the masters are kind of like, they're having issues, but the Padawans are doing really good. Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
The kids are all right, or in this case, the Padawans are all right, isn't it?
Well, I mean, Ram wasn't, but then by the end of the book, he figured out why and what he needed to do. So yeah, I liked all the growth and stuff. But
of course, it's always, as I say, it's always like that to interrupt you guys. It's at this time I like to have a few words from our High Republic correspondent, our inside source, the man who knows. Well, the man on the outside knows the inside. Ron, who's here, who's patiently listening to all this, thinking, what the heck is going on here? But probably loving hearing Yoda kicking ass and stuff. As a non-reader of the High Republic, Ron, how's this all sounding to you?
It's Ryan's engagement in it. It sounds like it's working. That his excitement level for it, that you guys have read it and have taken to it as you have. It sounds like it must be done pretty well, written in a manner that's engaging, entertaining, and working for existing Star Wars or mixing itself into existing Star Wars to keep it all cohesive. I'll honestly say, hearing the cloud part, whatever, and then there it's Yoda. To me, that does have that problem that Ryan mentioned, or whatever, of having the known characters, the powerful ones. They're too powerful that they're always going to be there as that storytelling, or have the potential to be there as that storytelling crutch, that whenever something gets to dire straits, then somebody come in and can come save the day type of thing. So it's a challenge for any book writing fair or anything like that in that era to weave that in a manner that works. So
yeah, that's why they kind of had him off to the side for like the whole time.
Yeah, but they put him off the side, but then when they needed it or things seemed dire, then all of a sudden there he was. But if it works in a manner that makes for the excitement and gets people excited about the characters and the like, that's what they're there for. That's what we're there for, the story. How it might all play out in a on-screen type of thing, I've always said that. Books can obviously paint a picture. I think today's Senate tagline is. The Senate podcast brought to you by what'd you say, a bucket of goo, a pile of goo. That there's a character. We have a character that's a rock, and we have a character that's a bucket of goo. Is that a dirge type of character? Just, the books can paint pictures that you can't do on video. Though in 2022 they can do just about anything nowadays to create those characters. So it has that aspect of not why I don't read books, but just books can paint they can paint with a broader brush, and I guess don't have constraints. And an author, if they can use the words eloquently enough and well enough, can paint whatever type of picture they might want to paint that won't work on screen, if you will.
That's interesting. So you're saying that, I'm wondering now, would Geode have worked or had such the kind of reception if he'd been introduced in a movie or a cartoon sort of thing? I don't know if he would have, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of it's inner. That's the thing. A lot of it's inner monologue of characters just joking about, like, oh, there's that hound dog Geo chasing after them girls again, and then they just move on and they totally ignore it. So I think it would still kind of work. And like you're saying about the bucket of goo or Berlin, I don't know if you've seen Hellboy, but it's exactly like one of the characters from the Hellboy movie. A character is pretty much a sentient smoke, and he fills up. Oh, yeah. You picture him like a spacesuit, and he's in a spacesuit. And when the spacesuit breaks, he flies out as a cloud of smoke and beats everybody up. Same thing with that. Now we have pretty much a guy who's just slime, and that's what I love about space characters and even comics like Green Lantern and stuff like that. You have these heroes who aren't, bipedal, 5 fingers, a different color skin type, and then they're all the same. You have a sentient rock. You have a tree in the Marvel universe. You have a bucket of slime. I want to see characters that don't make any sense. Every single character in Star Wars is pretty much 2 legs and a misshapen head or body in some way.
Or a lizard.
It's still on 2 legs, still have arms and legs. You can have a big hammer head, you can have horns in your head. You all look relatively the same. But now when you have a rock or you have a character that's slime, like that gets the really spacey characters that takes you out in the open, that life isn't what we picture it as. I'm happy to see these characters introduced in there that really weird, that doesn't make any sense. In Green Lantern, they have a sentient planet or they have a sentient virus type of thing. So, and that's what I like to see, off the wall space characters, not just really. I mean, but any characters that even have 4 legs? Something weird. I know there's characters that don't have legs, like
the only thing I can think of, is close would be like Jabba, because he doesn't have feet.
Yeah, he's a slime, and that's a great space character. He's a slime guy. Yeah, he's a slug. So that's cool. So you still got arms, though, type of thing. So that's how I love this out of the box characters.
On the Lady Proxima people are worms, I guess. Yeah.
Which is like what I was saying when we was talking about the Book of Boba Fett. How the heck did the Hutts, become so powerful when you could run away from them quite quickly? It's like
literally just money in hiring.
Throw some salt down on the floor and
put some
run away.
Or some vinegar,
walk away.
Water,
Weird.
I did have a question that generated through all this, although these are way early on or whatever. That I don't know if someone said Proxima was dead or just it was something like a Proxima on Corellia, but it would have been before Proxima, right? There was nothing
in the book, and she's like a kid, basically.
Yeah. Okay, because there was nothing in Solo that Proxima was dead, but then, like I say, then I went to my head, no, these stories are supposed to be way, way earlier than everything. Yeah. So, okay, Proxima's in there as a kid.
Yeah, so it's their same species, and so it's basically like her brothers and sisters that are older. And then there's one that ends up like leaving the family business and going to be a bodyguard, and they have to wear a protective suit because the sun's deadly to them, which I thought that was kind of more opens up Solo more,
To what Ryan was saying,
we see in Solo.
I think the character design in that sense, and again, for me, Star Wars is what's on screen. You can have that bucket of goo, that big worm, like the big slug for Jabba. You can have that for the the bad guy characters, or I guess not the main characters, but I think the main characters are going to be need to be that humanoid sort of form factor, even Kit Fisto or Ki-Adi-Mundi or Plo Koon or whatever, they're very, like you say, still bipedal and all that, just a different mask on, if you will, a different head shape or whatever. I don't know, it's on screen or for me, for Star Wars and what it is, the characters are going to be or need to be that from a storytelling perspective to some extent. And then I think what I'm trying to say is maybe the play acting aspect of what kids would want to do or want to be. And maybe that's stemming from having action figures and playing and reliving scenes or reliving, recreating what you saw in the movies and in the stories or whatever, having those figures. But the bad guys could be the weird things because they would tend to get run off, destroyed, killed, whatever. They weren't as engaged nearly as much as the good guys, if you will.
And it's still kind of like that in these books. Like the weird characters are kind of like they pop in real quick and then leave. It's not like they're front and center all the time. Like I can see because there would be trouble adapting them
all
to film
humans
if they
really.
are leads.
And Jabba and the Mandalorian is truly the problem with creating a character in some weird realm like Brian was talking about, because you have Jabba. How the heck does he get around? Okay, he's being carried. Oh my God, they're being carried. That palace was way out in the middle of nowhere compared to the town. How long did it take that litter to get carried? It just becomes, we start to real world it and we start to project and start to look at Star Wars physics and everything and go, wait, what the heck? How does that work, I guess? And that becomes problems with a character as a rock or something in a real, in a cinematic on-screen type of thing. We'll just start picking it apart, going, how the heck, where's, losing our ability to just disconnect and enjoy the story. That's easier in a book. That's easier in a panel-to-panel comic storytelling model to just, okay, the Rock was here and now all of a sudden the Rock's there. Well, who cares? He was here in this frame and now in this picture, next comic book page, he's over here. He whatever it is he does, he moves kind of thing. But you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that on screen as well.
Well, again,
you can.
The characters the characters that don't know Geode, they kind of play the role of the viewer, where they're like, I don't know if this Rock, I don't know if people are joking with me. Is this Rock really alive? How does he asked that?
Is that how they do it? Is that how they do it?
Yeah. They're like,
I'd never see him move.
They're like, yeah.
Yeah. So he plays the role of the viewer until the very end. This is Into the Dark, where he literally appears in front of him, and he saves, was it Wreath that he saves or something? Yeah, he saves one of the characters, from being sucked out into space by just being a rock, by standing there and let him slam into him and something to hang on to. And it's like, and they could feel the force around him. So it does all right. But again, it's like you said, the main characters are relatively humanoid, and that's part of the story. We understand you got to carry it. So like Dr. Mandible,
all the
Dr. Mandible,
Jedi,
my favorite,
are human, right?
Yeah, Wreath is human, Ram's human, Comac and Vitus, they're all human. Crash is human. So they're all. Yeah. There's not all the Nile.
I think
the Nile's
Cantum's like an alien, right? Kind of.
No, he's he's just got. I'm trying to think. Well, he's on the cover of the book. Comac is darker skin with a mustache.
I thought that was Wreath on the cover.
No, on the front of the book, that's Cantum and Comac.
Because I looked at the picture of Cantum and he had like the mutton chops and he's got like a weird beard and no mustache.
Oh yeah, he's in the comics a bunch. I mean, he's still got. I mean, he's not like blue skinned or anything like that. If I remember.
See, and I thought he was older too, but looking at the pictures, I'm like, oh, he's not that old.
I thought he was younger. In the comics, he looks young, and I was like, wait, this is a master. He just he's like 5'2" or so. I don't know.
I got really confused with Cantum. So I got him mixed up. So I thought he was the. I thought he was the character in Eye of the Storm 2. I thought, this is how this all ends up. He gets he gets captured. Yeah, that's how he ends up in that. But
the guy with the eyes.
It's not.
It looks like a mushroom.
They kept talking about more than one of him. I thought, he must be the one with all the eyes or the faces and that kind of stuff. But he's not. I'm just looking at him now. I should have updated earlier on that this. And I thought he's going to get caught at the end. This that just next page. He's going to get caught. He's going to get caught. No.
Wrong again.
Should have put a bet on that one. I should have looked him up at the start to make sure I was thinking about the same one.
So I had to look him up because they made it sound like he was like I thought he was an old man because that's what it sounded like. But then certain parts of the book where it's like, okay, he's not an old man, I guess. But he seemed like he was younger than Comac, so that's why it was kind of confusing.
So I'm looking through.
He looks young.
Yeah, he does. I'm looking. They shouldn't do this, but I'm looking through the reviews on Amazon for this, and it's got 4.4 out of 5. from 288 ratings. That's pretty darn good. But as always, I love to read the ones that people are moaning about it. And of course, can you guess what they're moaning about?
Cantum?
Equality.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say Cantum.
Love and equality. Apparently, this is a very woke book. This person wrote 1 out of 5. Honestly, I would never have thought this until somebody. What a disappointment. Pick this up for my kid and I to read, since we both love Star Wars. Caught up pretty quick that this is more about return to lifestyles than saving galaxies. So heads up, parents of young adults, it's very woke. Go on.
How can you find that in downvote?
Anything where you're free to be what you like to be, you're free to love who you want to love, you're free to be whatever kind of person you want to be. That's got to be woke and wrong, because that's the way.
And that's the problem. If you're not a straight white character, then you're woke, type of thing. And it's like the three main characters, Avar, Elzar literally sleeps with somebody in Rising Storm. He sleeps with a reporter, and then that reporter bounces on him. So it's funny. So it's just like, come on, people! Like, literally the worst things to complain about.
Obviously, if you don't like Southern, but you're going to pick up on Southern, and you're going to say that's the strong reason why you don't like it, aren't they? This person's got 2 out of 5. Bad story, dull pace, too much love. Yeah, this is by far
it did kind of like bother me too, because it kind of threw me out of it.
The first half,
but I mean, not because of the pronouns that doesn't bother me, because but whenever there's like sex reference in a Star Wars book, I do kind of get like weirded. I'm like, that's kind of odd. I mean, the Ventress book did it. Into the Dark did it. I mean, Fallen Star. Did Fallen Star do it?
Admittedly, yes, there was a lot of Mills and Boons in that first third. I mean, I picked up and it's that, but not to the point of saying I hate this. I just thought there's a lot of love going on here. And this person's put in their review, there's too much forced sexual attraction in this book. I didn't see everything that was going on. They're saying about love and all this and this stuff. I didn't think any of it was forced. I mean, these are all clear.
No, definitely not.
If you read any of the books and any of the comics, you know these people care about each other, and this is the whole thing that the Jedi are wrestling with at this time, isn't it? This whole thing, they've all been loved up for years. Everything's been rosy and peach, and now they're all threatened. This whole idea of caring for other people and stuff, it's going to become a lot more important to everybody. Everything's complained about. I didn't see anything forced in here.
Which I think that was kind of like the theme, was like, now that these Jedi have like been faced with like near death, they're kind of questioning like, well, I'm missing out on relationships, and like, this is really what I want to do. That's kind of like been the theme of the whole thing from the other books as well.
Well, I mean personally, I don't feel like that. It's just kind of it's something that you have to fight. It's just who knows? It's something that as Padawans, you got to think they're 16 to 19 coming up through there. They have to deal with these feelings, and some people handle it. Others were like, obviously Orla and Skier, which is probably my favorite relationship in the book. That's only mentioned in one blurb, one word bubble. It's mentioned, and I'm like, that's incredible. Like, that's so funny. Orla and Skier. So. Just little mentions like that, it's something that they deal with. And at this time, obviously, I think it's mentioned in one of the earlier books, it's like, it's not that we don't like relationships, we just don't like attachment. So yeah, you can kind of be, I think there's one Jedi where they literally say he sleeps around a lot. And that's literally how they put him. It's like, he gets around a lot. He kind of stays on the outer edges of the Jedi type of thing. He kind of breaks the rules type stuff. But, he doesn't form attachments. He sleeps around, but he doesn't have attachments to anybody. So it's like they're still exploring all of that. And what we see in the movies, honestly, it's not the be all, the end all. It's the rules and what we see in those characters. Just how, like, every movie, it's like, oh, we just happen to be seeing a movie about the most powerful character. Well, yeah, because I don't want to watch a movie about the guy who's, serving food somewhere. Like, I want to watch it about this character and what rotates around him. And the great thing about Star Wars is the background characters and what fills it in. That's why From a Certain Point of View is one of my favorite books. And it talks about doing paperwork for an entire chapter, filing paperwork. And I love it. It was so entertaining. Or a mouse droid carrying love letters.
Are like the important parts of the story. Like, they're not going to do a movie where nothing happens. It's, it's not Seinfeld. They're using the epic moments, and that's the movie.
Yes, they have more room to explore, and they have 9 books now, so, and 30 some comics.
I think talking about the comments, I think that's going to come next month now. And I'll just read another. This talk about people criticizing their own self here. This person's given it 2 out of 5, and he said a disappointment High Republic entry. But he says what up here. He says, additionally, this book has no business being 480 pages because it's dragged down by useless subplots that add nothing to the overall main story. I mean, the whole subplots all make up the whole flipping story.
Yeah, that's the whole.
There's nothing here that is irrelevant to the whole story. The whole subplots make up what's going on behind the scenes. And
yeah, like I will admit, it's a big book. It's bigger than some of the adult books.
I think the audiobook was like 7 hours. I think, yeah.
I don't know if it was 10. I think it was 10.
Was it 10?
Then he goes on a bit about, it's brilliant that Yoda's back. He adds so much to the story, and this is great.
Yeah.
And then this is his last bit here. This really contradicts himself. All in all, I really enjoyed most of the High Republic material, but this one was difficult to finish. Nothing really happens until the end, and the payoff really isn't worth the time spent. Sorry to say, this entry of the High Republic.
That's how movies work. Like you build the story, and then you have Jedis falling from the sky, and mystery characters you thought dead and lost appearing and wrecking shop and doing what Yoda does best, which is wreck people.
Literally everything was on fire, and there was a big giant battle. So.
I know, he just said Yoda brings so much to the story, and then he says nothing really happens, and the payoff wasn't worth it. And then he ends with, I would definitely recommend avoiding this entry in the High Republic universe. I mean, it has one of the most important things happen at the end, and why would you want to miss this?
Read the book.
I mean, waste of crunch.
Stephen, the other cool thing about the audiobook, okay, you know how there's the whole thing about that family that was on Corellia, that they worked in the building the ships, and then they were a band kind of thing. You get to hear their music, and then the girl singing.
Oh right.
Oh yeah. I thought that was really neat too. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I was like, I'm glad I'm listening to the audiobook of this, because I would have never known what any of this. It's a lot of music stuff in the beginning of the book, so it helped.
I just wish I knew what that character looked like. Crash's friend.
The floating one.
A floating character with a bunch of arms.
Yeah, it sounded like a jellyfish.
Sheena. Yeah, is that the one that his girlfriend? Sorry, her girlfriend that keeps disappearing in the shadows. Disappearing.
Yeah, she keeps
nobody can sneak up on me, and she's like, "Hi, Crash."
It's like a running joke, isn't it? It's like it becomes quite entertaining actually. That bit,
even the robots sneak up on her.
Yeah.
It
was just quite.
That robot kept giving her popping up calf. He kept offering her coffee.
I was going to say, and these is no reviews here. Like always Amazon reviews that really get me is when somebody says to me, "Is it 5 out of 5? Brilliant! Or what I wanted. I haven't opened the box yet though." It's like, it was reviewing stuff they haven't even looked at yet.
It was definitely a slow build, but you could see them unravel the mystery. You get to
this is mystery, wasn't it?
With one of the most Jedi.
And this is the whole thing was trying to work out what the heck was going on. That's what all that subplot and subterfuge and all that kind of stuff is all about.
I think out of all the ones so far that I've read, I probably wouldn't read this one again. Because there's a lot in there that was entertaining than all the Yoda stuff and all that. Yeah.
Like Light of the Jedi, there's no big battles. Rising Storm, lightsaber battles, excuse me. Rising Storm has a big battle, but it bounces from character to character. It's a lot of, he lit his Jedi and ran into the cloud, and then it jumps character perspective. This was like Jedi I shouldn't say being Jedi, because it's not very Jedi to kill, but they were saving people. They were killing people. They were doing everything in their power. They've had enough, and it doesn't seem like it's like Elzar Mann where he went too far. They're just like, no, I'll chop off arms. At one point, it's like it sunk the saber down into his torso and pulled it out. I'm like, oh my god, this is probably the most
came out
movie.
Through the back. Yeah.
Fallen Star, there was no battles in Falling Star. Fallen Star was just walking around wondering what is going on. I enjoyed the book, and it had one of the most shocking endings with Elzar Mann, as we've already discussed, so it's not a spoiler. Killing Chancey Yarrow, one of the most shocking surprises as far as a character development.
One of the only lightsaber scenes in that book.
Yeah, everybody else was walking around, and then oh my god, they're dead. Walking around, I'm dead too. Person after person. Very good book, but it felt like it was plopped and slow. Where this one, it's the only thing I felt it could do without is the Crix and Luna getting, Crix and Lula and Zine stuff being hunted, because that story was told.
We basically got a whole chapter that's based in the comics retold, wasn't it?
So I get it. If you don't read the comics, it's a great setup. But if you do, it's like I'm literally reading verbatim what's in the comics, and it's like, okay, it did make me
I have to admit, you didn't need that bit at all. You could have left that whole Crick subplot out, and just to a couple of sentences, we've just been off and got Cricks, and now we're back again, and nobody, we would have missed anything.
Yeah, someone would have wondered, well, where did Zine come from? Well, it's in the comics, in the final page of the comic.
And they kind of re-summarize it in this book, They go over the whole the Nile came to her planet, and then when she met this person, they recap the comics. But
they needed Crix to actually the Crix was needed to reveal that something was going on the moon and that Nihil were actually there, but they didn't. They could have done that another way without.
Did they ever explain what was going on at the moon?
With what? Oh, the moon. No, they just say it was union disputes.
Oh.
Apparently, it needed everybody to go there. I really don't understand. Those bits I didn't understand that how everybody's all gone there for union dispute.
There was one part I was confused on because Zine was on her way there when she was on the comms, right? And then she got there and recorded the video of her dancing, right?
No, that was earlier
Ram,
where I think
right?
with Ram and Lula, because remember Ram didn't go to. Because they were all on Starlight Beacon, and then the Tomac Vitus Wreath, they're like, you know what, we're going to go to Corellia because we hear there's a union dispute. And then the others stayed back, and that's when they're just being kids, recording and dancing and doing silly stuff.
I thought she got there, and then Ram's like, oh, I have the person in mind, and then they go back to Zine, and she's in hyperspace. So I'm like, well, why is she in hyperspace? I thought she was there already. I got confused.
Yeah, when I was reading it, I put the book down for a week, and I was confused about that too. But when I listened to it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the nice thing about reading it and then immediately listening to the audiobook, because the things you forgot at the beginning, you're like, that all makes sense now,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they were all just playing. That's where they were practicing, was on Starlight, before all the meetings, and they were just dancing around and doing silly kid stuff. And and then I like how she gets there and they're like, we need you to be a mega pop star, and she's like, what? I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, there were some funny bits. I have to say, the whole thing with Crash to start off with, I really didn't know what was going on. Didn't really understand the team. Didn't really understand the politics and the nature of Korea. But I worked it out as time went on, and I said they became really quite attached to Crash and her shenanigans and stuff. But yeah, I mean, there were some really. It was fast paced once it really got going, and Crash, the way that Crash she thinks is always ahead of the game and stuff, and there's just some funny sort of it all just felt quite warm and fuzzy. I mean, between her and her team, and the team will become more interested and more entertaining.
That was really nice.
They just got on quite nice, didn't they?
How she punched a senator because the senator called her dead partner a worm, and he's just like, oh, it's just a worm. And then it's just and then the fight broke out. So Crash was very good to her, and I like her realization that her team isn't just her team is her family. So she had her own little story through the whole thing where she kept her team at arm's length, not to trust anybody. And then she talked to her mom, and she's like, no, the team is the only one you can trust. You keep the clients at arm's length. And it was a realization, it was an awakening for the character that keep everyone filled in. They are your family. And it's oh, that was very nice.
She did lose that one guy, though. The one at the beginning, she said he was useless. The grumpy guy.
Oh, yeah.
The whole setup with the bomb brat as well, with being caught just about to eat it, with the singer being caught about to eat this bomb brat, and then the bomb brat protection you group comes swinging in. Sort of thing. It was quite entertaining. That was funny.
Yeah, her voice on the audiobook was good. It fit the character.
I could imagine it'd be I mean, I have to wait months to get that legally over here, so that's why I did it this way. And I say this is actually only the second book I can remember reading in 10 years. So
wow.
I think I've done quite well. You set the challenge, I accepted it, not knowing whether I would actually make it or not. So that's why I started the next stage of what I need to make some good progress in this. But it's actually a lot. I actually think it's to some degree it's actually I can read quicker than I can actually listen, because when I can listen I have to
I zone out when I
There's
listen.
nothing else going
Like-
on around me. There's nothing else going on around me. I don't have a commute, so I don't have any reason to listen to stuff and that kind of stuff. I don't really like to listen to stuff when I'm going for walks either. I like I go out for a walk in nature. I like it to be quiet around me, so I don't want to be listening to something.
I'm afraid of getting attacked when I'm walking down the street, though.
Yeah.
Can't have headphones on.
The book, it doesn't really matter what's going on around you. You can just sort of shut it off and pick the book up, drop it down, pick it up, drop it down, sort of thing. Yeah, I it's different to the whereas with the audiobook, you've got to be concentrating on what they're saying, and quite often sort of zone out, and then it's like 1 minute later, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, how did that? What happened?
Well, I have an hour commute each way to
just
work,
look
so
back, can't you?
yeah.
And
Oh
most
my
of the
god, you have an hour commute?
Yeah.
Dang.
Traffic.
So when the next book comes out, Steve? There's all sorts. There's Brotherhood. There's the Master and Apprentice books. Anything, whatever next book that you choose to read. Are you going to go with the physical book or the audio book?
I really wish they came out with soft book covers. I don't like hard book covers.
They do out eventually, because last time I went to Barnes and Noble
do,
to
but
pick up.
you have to wait longer
Yeah.
to get them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
When I
realized,
went to go to Fallen Star, they had Light the Jedi in paperback. I'm like, oh,
I,
really?
read- I heard this on radio, and people talk about books and authors and that. The reason when they do the hard book stuff is so they can sell it for a higher price and then make more profit. I think that's why they do hard book first. That's the only reason.
Well, they also changed the size of the paperbacks to make more profit. So instead of $9, they're $15 now. So it's annoying.
Oh, they used to be $5.
I mean, a softback cover is a whole lot easier to hold in your hands and your laps and stuff in your bag or
Smaller.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, and that kind
So, yeah,
of
but
stuff.
so the
And
next one, I
don't
think.
get flipping cover falling off. I actually took the cover off and put it away somewhere else because the cover just kept coming off every time I was opening and shutting and moving the book around. So I just take that cover off.
I mean, the first book I ever bought, Star Wars book, was the Episode 1 book, and I only got it because I was like at a hospital waiting, and it was in the gift shop, and I was like, well, I'm gonna just buy this and start reading it, and like I lugged that book around with me everywhere, and so like having the paperback is a lot easier to carry around.
Yeah,
and, like,
it's smaller and easier to put everywhere.
Yeah.
But now they made them large size paperbacks, and this was kind of annoying. Like they're almost as big as a hardback now. So I don't know. I wish they kept them small. They just made them bigger, and I'm like, I'm not that old yet. Like I don't need the magnifying glass to read. Like keep them small, dang it.
Well, even like I'm sitting on the couch with like the Fallen Star book, like I'm sitting there like this thing is huge. I feel like I'm reading like a dictionary, you know. And
It's
so
a bit
heavy.
like, as I said, like this one here. It is pretty much the same size as the dictionaries I used to have when I was a child, sitting on the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
It's massive.
It's way bigger.
Yeah.
I think it's bigger than 2 of the adult books. Yeah, it's big, and it's shorter, so it makes it fatter. So
Yeah, it's bizarre, but I think I'm pleased I did it because I'm pleased that it proved to me that I can still. I'm not reading every. Sometimes I can see what's coming up, and it's like, I just read some of the conversation and just skip over some of the things. Like, you can tell that you don't need to read every word some of the times, so I can read a little bit quicker. And plus, but it's good. It helps me get the spelling of things nicely. But I think. Yeah, it's difficult because there's some things that audiobooks are much better at and much easier to listen to at different times. And there's sometimes where a book is better than. I suppose it really depends on what time you've got, how you like to listen to it. It's good to have the choice, isn't it, I suppose?
Oh, and then like when you listen to the audiobook, it's like an American accent. So when you're reading it, it's British.
There was no aluminium foil in this one.
There's no aluminium.
foil. Yeah. Yoda comes
all
on.
these weird foreign voices.
So I think, I know, technically we've got no more new High Republic now until the end of the year. And I was thinking, am I going to use this time to put my reading feet up and not borrow any books? And I think, I might do one book between now and...
I got to read Missing
I said I was only going to do High Republic, and I am mostly going to concentrate on High Republic because I've only really got time for concentrating on them. But I think I might do one book between now and then. I quite I can't remember I like the sound of. I couldn't remember which one it was.
Well, the next phase starts in October, and there's actually like 5 books before that. So there's a lot of books. Like in April, there's Queen's Hope. May 10th is Brotherhood. June 7th is Stories of Jedi and Sith. June 28th is Shadows of the Sith. July 20th. So every month there's a huge, a pretty popular book coming out. It's July 26th is Padawan with Qui-Gon and Obi. The Princess and the Scoundrel is August.
That's the marriage of Han and Leia, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So their marriage. Yeah, I mean,
I think one of those 5 I will probably purchase and read, but I can't do more than that, really, I don't think. But we'll see how time goes.
Shadows of the Sith is probably the one I'll buy, where it's with Luke
that
and
one
Lando. That's Shadows.
That's
It's
got
Luke and
options,
Lando.
isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Luke and Lando teaming up before The Force Awakens. So it is 20 years after Return of the Jedi, and they're hunting for Force artifacts.
That sounds like a really good one. That sounds
that
like
one will
that will really fill in the holes, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's going to.
Or
So,
Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
Okay.
but yeah, Force Awakens. Yeah.
We have reached time, folks. So it looks like the High Republic comics, we can still remember them. Well, for me, really, still remember them. Come next month, we'll go through synopsis of what happened in them next time around. I know Ron would be getting his cup of coffee ready for that one.
I think this is the longest book discussion we've had for this one.
And he'd be pleased to know
This is
that
just one
will
book.
be a long break from High Republic stuff after that.
And then it'll be all Kenobi and Star Wars Celebration.
Yes, because next will be May, won't it? Yeah. So we will still have maybe a bit of a quiet month to some extent next month, and after that, it's all going to go. It's going to go. Holy shit! Everything's on fire, isn't it?
Yeah. The hashtag might very well come into play with the revelations and things found in Kenobi, I suspect.
I suspect it will. I hope so. Because
Especially I guess that's something. I guess we didn't do news, but yeah, they moved Kenobi from the 25th to the 27th, and I personally have some problems with that. So I was kind of bummed at that announcement, honestly. Not really a problem, but insert meme of that guy with his hands on his head.
Got 2 episodes in one day now. I'm just I just say to somebody else, I really hope that they're standard length episodes, because I all the things to moan about, and I do moan about 15
14 minutes long.
I don't like that thing where we had a Mando and Boba, where one episode 1 week's 25 minutes and the next one is 50 minutes, and you don't know what you're getting. I compared it to, like, you buy a packet of crisps. Some of them are all the way full up, and some of them are half full. You go and buy a packet of crisps. You want a packet of crisps.
Stephen, just go into it that they're all 25-minute episodes, and then when you get a 40-minute episode, you're like, you're bonused.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't say that.
Or just watch 10 minutes of each one, and then.
I'm so used to like TV where you know what you're getting. It's going to be 45. Standard episode TV, was it 45 minutes or something, isn't it?
But then there's
How much time should I
stuff
set aside?
in or cutting stuff out. Then you get somehow Palpatine's return kind of stuff, because you got to wrap it up because you have a constraint of some formulaic TV time frame. So yeah, the streaming model does help. It is frustrating when you get that that 27-minute episode. You're just like, oh, you want more, but I think it's fine in terms of it lets you tell the story that's there. It's just those weeks can be a bit frustrating.
Yeah, well, it is.
Half the episode is learning how to write a monster.
Yeah, when you've had you've had a couple of weeks where it's been like 50 minutes, and then you're like, oh, I can't wait for next week, and it's like 20 minutes, and then I mean, not that you don't enjoy the 20 minutes, but it just feels like a bit of a change thrown away. But I understand what you mean. But if I could, my wish list would be to at least have them very closely same running time length.
Well, my wish list would be for it to be 2 hours long each. So
I kind of get the feeling that's not going to happen, unfortunately, because the current streaming on Disney Plus for Star Wars TV stuff has been all over the place.
Well, I'm thinking since it's like such a short, limited run, that they're going to be longer episodes. I'm hoping,
I just hope they stick with like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you, I went into episodes of Mandalorian. I had no, like anything, no clue as to what to expect. I almost kind of, the times I did find out for some reason, I guess it's an online posting or something, that this was only going to be a 32-minute episode, or this next, it lends itself to the human mind going to an expectation factor. So if you just go into it knowing you're getting more entertainment, then you get entertained and you enjoy it, versus, oh, I know this is a short one, I wonder why. You just start thinking about it. It's just human nature to do that, to start processing things, whatever. To not know that and going into it, and then you just, because some of the short ones I would have sworn by the end of it was a long one, just because there was so much in it, and I was entertained and enjoyed it. And then to look back and go, wow, really? That was only a 27-minute, or it did not feel like that. So yeah, I advise not knowing that info.
I always have the problem, like when I watch stuff on TV and I look at the clock, I'm like, okay, it's 7:45, so this is probably going to wrap up in the next 5
Well,
minutes.
so right, there's that. If you know it's a 45-minute episode and you started at 7:15 and you see the clock and you know it's coming up on 10 till 8, then you're like, oh, this is going to end soon. Versus
Yeah, they're gonna
if you've
catch
got
you guys.
no
Yeah.
clue, if you have no indicator, all that, you're just watching it, enjoying it, and
Unless you pause
taking
it.
more out of it.
How much time I
I
got?
mean, yeah. There's been times
Yeah.
where like I pause it
Yeah,
to
that's
get up. I'm like,
frustrating
oh,
too.
I only have like 3 minutes left. Like, what the heck? You know.
There's no pausing. Hey, do we think that Kenobi got moved merely and solely because of Celebration? That they're trying to do something at or for Celebration, or let it drop at Celebration at a panel that you get to see it on the 25th? Because it's odd to move it off of Star Wars Day, but it makes some semblance of sense because of Celebration. So that's my guess, I guess,
Well, not
if
to
you
me.
will, so to speak, the speculation.
I don't like it.
They're fixing the Inquisitor's
Yeah.
head.
Well, they've known about Celebration for months. I mean, how can they suddenly move it now? Oh, I don't know. It's not the end of the
And
world.
then drop the second episode on Friday. No.
Yeah, it's
But
not the end.
I'm
would you
not a
want,
fan of-
like, okay, like, if you're at Celebration, would you want to watch the first 2 episodes of Kenobi on your phone while sitting in the queue?
God, no.
Yeah,
No.
you know,
that
Friday morning, the celebration. No,
Or at a
do it
hotel?
on Wednesday.
You know, I don't know.
So right, having
I
a
feel bad.
big panel, letting people, because Celebration for the attendees, now that it's online and everything, there's kind of a like, well, I need to attend and wait in line. But having something
Oh.
for the attendees, having a reward for attending and going,
Do you think?
getting to see Kenobi drop on Wednesday at a panel ahead of everyone,
Yeah.
I think is allowed, or something that they
Do
can
you
do.
think they're gonna have at Celebration like a theater room and you can watch Kenobi there with an audience of people? Is that gonna be something maybe?
If they don't do it in a panel form or a big gathering form type of thing or whatever, and get the preview of it there in all 3 halls or however they might do it, then I
if
would
they have
hope
you in there with
that-
and then premiering it, yeah, that'd be awesome.
that night or something that they were, or whatever day. Yeah, they have that. I don't know if I haven't even looked at Celebration at all. If they're having that sort of viewing room where something's playing although to me that was a waste of space, because really I wasn't going to Celebration and then going to go watch Empire Strikes Back or something in a room that's playing. This is before online and on demand or whatever, but just it was like, no, I didn't go the whole way there to watch a movie that I can watch anytime I want. I went there for all the other content. So I don't know how well those things ever were, but right, if Ewan's there, to have him there, show the 20 minutes screening of the
theatrical
first
format,
episode or
yeah.
something, and then and then have him come out on stage and talk about it or whatever, and talk about what's more to come and all that. I think that's the reasoning behind it, I'm sure, and excited for those that are attending Celebration that they would get such. I have no problem with them getting to see it ahead of time. Hey, I did some research on the colors of sabers, and
I'm glad you were listening to us.
cursory research. Well, I was listening. Cursory research, just a quick. It seems Kenner made it up. Basically, they thought they wanted a different color figure for each choice, or each figure, a different color saber for each figure, so that you knew whose was whose if they got separated or something like that. And clearly that, to me, kind of speaks volumes, makes sense. They're seeing this marketing, like the picture that we saw sent to them, and no one knew what Star Wars was going to be. They were just making figures for a movie, like they had done some others that had limited success. The kids would buy the figures for a couple of months after the movies or whatever, and then it was on to the next one. It wasn't like they knew what they were making figures for, an iconic lightning in a bottle sci-fi flick.
They
that
didn't
became,
expect anyone to still make that puzzle 45 years later.
So there wasn't a need to be screen accurate, and accurate to the respectful of the figures or the characters that were seen on screen and what they held and all that sort of stuff. So apparently I found a story. They did that to Mace Windu. There was a Mace Windu mail away figure or something, and because he had never lit his lightsaber when we saw him in his first movie or whatever, they just sent him with a blue one, not knowing that he was going to get it'd be a purple one or whatever. So yeah, there's something to the chicken, the egg, what's ahead of it in terms of the lead time, the lag time to getting these things produced as to what they come with. But yeah, there's really no great reasoning behind it all, other than just the Kenner guys basically made it up so that each figure was a
They
different
didn't
color.
know we were looking at the hilts.
Yeah,
Figure
had no
out which
clue.
one.
Yeah.
Well, those early figures didn't even have it. They slid out of their arm.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. It's been fun as always. I really enjoyed that today, and thanks for Ron for coming back with the little trivia at the end. So thank you very much, everybody. We will be back in about a month's time on your favourite podcast network, wherever that may be.
Same Star Wars time, same Star Wars channel.
Thank you very much, everybody. See you in a month. Well, later, earlier, before that. Bye.
May the Force be with you.
Bye now.
We're live in
Cheers.
life.
Go switch off. I am the Senate.
Be sure to follow us online. We're at Facebook at PSW Senate. Join our PSW Star Wars Facebook group where we all are in there interacting. You can find us on Twitter at PSW Senate. On Instagram, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. And on TikTok, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Force will be with you, always.
It's not a thing for Steven at all.
It's the
So.
Four Horsemen.
The
Oh boy.
Of the apocalypse. Yeah, no,
And
it's
the
just
last
that,
rider was death.
no Marie, unfortunately.
Both of those movies, they're not the best, but if they come on the telly, you got me saying it like that. If they come on the TV, I won't turn them off. They're just mindless entertainment.
Which
It was
one?
the Magic movies. Can you see me now, or something like that, with Woody Harrelson?
Oh, yeah,
and Garofalo, and
Now you see. Well, did I
Now You See Me. Yeah,
I
Anyway,
gotta watch the
they're-
second one.
I've not seen any of them.
They're good. I like my wife likes them.
they're entertaining. Yeah,
For me, the Four Horsemen come from wrestling, not from the movies.
I forgot that's
Wrestling.
what they were called. The Four Horsemen on that movie. Huh.
Wrestling.
Yeah, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson,
Ric Flair.
all them.
Barry Anderson, yeah, Arn Anderson, Barry. Is it Anderson? Was he Barry Anderson? Barry Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, and Barry. What, is he Barry?
It wasn't Winkleman. No, it was Barry
Yeah.
Rip something.
Barry Windman, something like that.
That sounds close.
It's close, isn't it? It's with a W. Yeah, that's that. They're the Four Horsemen to me. That's only three though. There's another one.
So were the British Bulldogs actually British?
Yes.
Okay.
They were actually. They were British. Four Horsemen of the Pockets. No, they weren't that. Wrestling. And I need to know who the other fourth one is in a minute.
I've never heard it before.
Oh,
Whoever's typing.
Anderson. No, the original ones was Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Anderson, and Tony Blanchard. But then it did develop, didn't it? The time I knew it in the 80s, it was it moved. Barry Windham. Barry Windham.
Yes, Barry Windham. Yeah.
That's it. That's pretty much when I knew it. Well, I knew a bit of Sting and Sid Vicious and that stuff. Oh man, they were the days. They were the days. Yeah, no, British Bulldogs, definitely British. Okay.
I never really watched wrestling, but I feel like when I was a kid, it was like super popular. And, like,
I did.
It was just everywhere.
When I was a teen, I was watching it all the time.
Like with Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man and the Hulk.
I tried to watch some of it now, and it's just absolute rubbish. I really can't get into it.
I still watch it now and then, but since I turned off my cable, I don't watch it at all. But I've been following wrestling since the 80s.
It's absolute rubbish. Yeah, because it was so posh and so spot on back in the 80s. I think your sensibilities may have changed. Although there are grown ass men that really enjoy the hell out of it.
I keep watching clips from the NWO stuff on YouTube and stuff. That was just magic. That era really was the NWO and stuff. It just felt so. As I keep saying in a lot of these documentaries I keep watching, it just felt so real. And that's you watch it now. You see not in the current WWE and stuff. I think I've seen these matches 100 times before. The same old thing. You know what's going to happen, sort of thing. The same old acting around. It's like going to watch a pantomime, which you guys don't get over there, I don't think. But yeah, I think you really need some really strong, larger than life characters like we have with like The Rock, Stone Cold.
Yeah. I used to like watching him. I would tune in and watch The Rock. He was funny.
You watch it for the characters, really, a lot more than the actual wrestling, I think.
That's a show, I guess.
Yeah, at the moment, I don't think there's.
I always considered it just to be a male soap opera. So I just sit there and I enjoy the story being told, as wonky as it is. Like, you're the father, and now you have to wrestle him in a ladder match to gain custody. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm all about, baby.
That's a great analogy. Really
yeah, and then plus with amazing athleticism. So,
there's no doubt about it. These guys are they're very well athletic. They're very well pumped, and they take a lot of bumps and pain and stuff. There's no doubt about it. You can't do that without being fit, strong, and also suffering for your sport. Really, it's like being a full-time stuntman, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And then they travel like 5 days a week.
Yeah, I mean, you take a lot. I know these ladders are made of probably aluminium, and the tables are probably like balsa wood or something like that. But I mean, it still hurts, and I don't know what they use for the.
I do have a fear of getting hit by a chair because of wrestling.
No,
my neck.
I like the when they get the drawing pins out and they roll them across the ring, and then somebody lifts somebody up and throws them on their back on the drawing pins. I mean, I don't care if they're simple drawing pins or not. That's still going to blimmer hurt, I tell you.
Wait, what drawing pins?
Drawing pin?
Yeah, well, tack pins.
You're talking about thumbtacks. Oh my god.
Yeah,
they're called thumbtacks. You call them drawing pins?
Drawing pins, we would call them. Yeah.
Push pins?
I've never heard that.
So interesting. Wait. So we have the thumbtacks that you can like pinch between your two fingers to pull out, and then we have the flat-headed ones that you kind of have to get your fingernail up under in order to pull out.
Yes.
Which ones are you referring to? Or they're both thumbtacks to us, but
one's a push pin.
The latter ones are what we call
with the flat head is what you call a drawing pin. Interesting.
You wanted to put a poster up on the notice board or something like that. You would use a
drawing board pin.
A drawing pin. Huh.
That would go on a corkboard. I guess.
And our lesson for the day. Lovely.
And that's one of the times where because I'm one of those males who always grows his nails, so I quite enjoy taking drawing pins off because I can get my nails around them. But most people like.
No, I keep mine really short. No.
You won't want to see mine. You call me a girl.
You just keep the pinky long so you can do.
This audio has been removed.
No, I've got half nails. I love itching and picking and all that kind of stuff. Okay, folks. So let me see. Let me get the script off and we can get going.
The after credits.
This might not be in the after.
yeah, that's way too much TMI for the Easter egg, Ricky. No, let me sharing that.
Just voice over that and say spice.
Yeah.
This audio has been removed.
Jeez.
Look at this. That's a bit like you used to get to start watching the movies in the cinema, wasn't it? Yeah, don't pirate this thing. The
Piracy
policies
is a
are
crime.
You know what? That's fascinating. Do they even try anymore? I haven't bought a new DVD. I don't know what the latest DVD I've ever bought is, but is there any of that
The FBI
stuff
warnings
on it?
on there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably
I
still.
don't know. I'd have to check.
They just, find the most recent DVD or Blu-ray you've purchased or whatever to see if is there anything on it in terms of the video that you watch that says Ixnay on the pirating pay.
Well, I'll be buying Spider-Man here
Yeah, me
soon,
too.
so I can let you know.
Well, I tell you, it worked on me. It always freaked me out.
I had a videographer cousin. He's made all kinds of short movies, entered them into movie festivals and stuff before the internet became a thing and everything. And he made a video where he took all those FBI warnings and spliced them all together off all the VHS tape, because they were the same, but they were different on a lot of, Paramount had theirs, whoever had theirs, they all had something different on it. So his movie festival entry one time was just like 3 minutes of those FBI warnings. Everybody was like waiting for the thing to start. It just played.
I remember there was one that they had
credits.
made. There was one they had made that was like a little mini movie, and it just showed people like stealing, and so they're like, piracy is not a victim's crime. Like it was like before the Matrix DVD or something like that, but it was.
Yeah, you need to attach it to this podcast to start this episode. If you copy this podcast, the FBI will be on your back. Okay, we better get going, because I know we always end up going on too long. We're trying to keep things into some sort of dropping times and stuff. Okay, so hello everyone, Star Wars fans, and welcome to. I just got a pop-up on my. I get absolutely no messages all the time for hours, and then suddenly one pops up when I'm doing the intro.